Previously on the Dragon Between podcast.
Don't tell me what to do. You're not my dad.
Maybe I am your dad, you little shit.
Maybe, but I doubt it.
You can't prove it and I can't prove it, so I guess we're at a stalemate.
Well, you know what? I have concrete evidence that I am your father. And until it's proven otherwise, you will now refer to me as dad.
Alright, Dad, then you're gonna have to call me Dad, because my fucking time machine here proves I am your dad.
You've descended down the long shaft. You can just looking up, you can just see the bit of Everbright lantern light that was illuminating the warehouse section of the shop doesn't give enough light to illuminate this shaft, and you can see the only entrance looking around this 15 by 15 foot platform is a door, a metal door, and there are perforations within the door, and a bit of steam is kind of billowing out from it, and you can hear in the distance very faintly the sound of what sounds like cogs and machinery whirring. And as
can you show the map to us again?
I sure can. Should be coming up here shortly. And to give you an idea of where this door is located, it is directly in front of you, Scorch, to the east, right up against the edge of the platform. And you can see this, you can feel the heat from this steam that's billowing from the perforations. It's almost like a screen, a metallic screen. This door, the inside of the frame of the door is like a metallic screen, and the steam billows out and starts to rise up through the elevator shaft.
And that's the only door through this elevator?
That's all you see as you look around the elevator shaft and around the edges of the platform. All you see is solid, smooth rock. This rock, it's as you look at it, it looks like the surface of the rock has been planed. It's straight edges except for the edges of the platform down. It's straight edge wall, the tiny little bit of a corner on each corner of this not quite square platform that you're standing on.
And we made it all the way to the bottom?
You have the elevator made it to the bottom of the shaft. It rested. There was a little bit of a give as it seemed to land into some sort of device that cushioned its perch. And the little toggle switch on the pedestal popped back into position after the elevator descended.
Alright, then Scorched will see if he can open that screen door.
Okay. So you're going to walk towards it?
Yes.
Okay. When you get within 5 feet of the door, which you can move your token on the map if you like, the door immediately, there's a metallic, that's west. There you go.
Coffee hasn't kicked in yet.
Coffee hasn't kicked in, I understand. As you approach this door, there's a metallic grinding and scraping noise, and the door raises up into the frame, up into this wherever it's seated, and reveals a billowing of steam that releases now in a huge puff into the chamber with the platform, and the whole platform now is full of this hot steam, and you're all now feeling a little bit warmer than you were before. And you can see ahead of you, you see this long pathway that stretches forth. And at the end of the pathway, you can just make out faint light that looks like some sort of luminescence from beyond this hallway into a larger chamber. And you can just make out what looks like movement in the distance, like someone moving around.
I think we're going to go this way. Who wants to go first?
I will.
Okay.
Scorch will let Rax through.
All right, Vax. You're going to head into the chamber. Let me reveal the pathway for you. As Vrax begins walking into the chamber, you find that the floor of this pathway seems to be made out of some sort of mesh metal. And there's steam rising up out from this grid that you're walking on. And as you step into this hallway, a long strip of ever bright lights illuminate in the ceiling overhead, and you feel the metal gangway just sort of give a bit as you step onto it, and you hear an audible click as suddenly blades come out of the wall and attempt to and start whirling in your pathway, and you are and they strike out at you.
Okay. How do you want me to handle that?
I'm going to attack you and see if it actually hits you. And then I will reveal the rest of the pathway for you. So these blades whirl, and you just manage to duck as the blade continues to duck. And at this point, I would like everyone can at this point roll initiative if they like. And as you look forward, Vax, as this first set of blades whirls and you just manage to duck out of the way, you see more blades ahead of you that emerge from the sides of the walls and come to life and start whirling in this path, this blender of blades. And the blades are going to attempt to hit you again, as you are currently standing within the pathway. And for some reason it hit something else instead of you. Whoopsie.
That sounds about right. Mostly out of fear.
Let's re-roll that. That did not mean to do that. There we go. Alright. The blades continue to whirl, and you are still standing within the path of the blades, and they strike your body. You just manage to pull your weapon up and block the blades, and the blades sort of have a little bit of give to them, but they continue to whirl and push you back a bit as they're continuing to try and hit you. And Twinkle, it is your turn. What would you like to do? You just watched Vrax go into this hallway. You can certainly try.
I would like to do that.
Okay, Vrax is currently within the hall, within the first 5 feet of the hall, and these blades are coming out of the wall and spinning like a blender. In order to attempt to disable a trap, you must move into that space where the trap is, and you can make a dexterity check with thieves' tools.
All right.
Okay. So as you move... Let's see. You're a goblin, so you're smaller than Rax. So standing between his legs, you reach up and you jam one of your thieves' tools into the edge of this crevice where these blades are whirling out of. And there's a very loud tung and the whirling blade suddenly stops, and you can hear the strain of the cog in the mechanism.
Nice job, Twinkle.
Ta-da!
And the first set of blades stops. Ahead of you, you can continue to see more of these blades.
Twinkle, if you don't mind, could you get the rest of them?
Another 35 feet of these blades are whirling now. Twinkle, you'll need to move
The rest of
into
us.
you'll need to move into each square individually and attempt to use your thieves tools to disable all of them.
Are each of those a separate action?
That is correct.
Well, I know what I'm doing next turn then.
Okay. Would you like to? You'll have to move out of Rax's area. You can't stay in his area. So you can either exit, going back into the platform, or you can move forward and potentially take damage.
I would like to hide back.
Okay. Alistair, it is your turn.
Well, I don't feel too being underground, so I'm just gonna let them do their thing and rest.
And Alistair's kind of like looking around all sketchily, kind of shivering a bit, just totally not liking the fact that he can't see the sky. Just his head like in overdrive looking around.
Okay. Scorched, it is your turn. You just watch Twinkle run up between Varax's legs and jam a tool into disabling a whirling blade, the series of whirling blades.
Scorch is going to step into the hallway.
Okay.
He's not going to go past where the first whirling blades were, but he's going to keep an eye out to make sure that nothing's going to come down from the end of the hallway.
Okay. All right.
Right there.
Sure. If you step into that area there, if you're not intending to get hit, you will get hit. Ah, there you go. Vrax, it is your turn. I moved your character out of the way.
Thank you. And I will just hold my action for now until they get these traps taken care of.
Okay. And then on that case, Twinkle, it is your well, Alistair actually. It is your turn.
Alistair's gonna kind of like move ahead and just kind of look in the hallway, but he's moving incredibly slow. Just imagine a bird that fell out of the tree and like broke his wing and can't fly. That's Alistair right now.
Okay.
And he's going to go ahead and take a potion of healing out of his bag and drink it because he knows that he's still bloodied up and basically does almost have like a broken.
Okay then. You can go ahead and deduct that from your inventory and roll your d4s. And Vrax, are you just going to continue to watch while Twinkle does her thing?
That is correct.
Okay then, Twinkle, what would you like to do?
Disarm the next thing.
Okay. That requires you to move into the area of the trap in order to reach the whirling blades. So you can move beyond Scorched and into the 5-foot section in front of him. And as you do, these whirling blades seem to have like sped up now. And the blades slash out at you as you enter into the space. And you are critically hit by them. and you just watch Scorched as she has just jostled around in these multiple blades that are whirling as she's reaching out with her device, attempting to disable the trap. You can go ahead and roll your Thieves' Tool dexterity check. Unfortunately, that is not enough, and the blades are continuing to churn as you are standing in this space. Would you like to continue to stand there?
No.
Okay, then. So Scorched, a bleeding and battered-looking Twinkle crawls between your legs and then goes back into the platform.
Guys, I don't think this is working out too well. Twinkle's not going to be able to survive going all the way down this hallway, unlocking each of these blades, because she comes close to getting hit every single time she tries to unlock one. Alistair, fly back up top to that control room that we unlocked and see if there's any buttons or anything you can find up there. Looks like it might turn this off.
Also, Twinkle, to remind you, I did put that remote into your bag.
How heavy is Twinkle?
I don't know. How heavy is Twinkle?
What kind of remote is that?
The device that she used to make the elevator return to the top floor and turn off the displays.
Hold on one second. Scorched, stay right here. I want to try to return this elevator to the surface and see if these blades stop moving. Let us know if they stop or if they're still going.
Or I'll let you know.
All right, Twinkle, go ahead and return the elevator to the surface.
Which
Got it.
You can do with either the remote or the switch on the pedestal.
Does that remote have any other buttons on it, or is it just for the elevator?
There are 4 buttons. One of the buttons you haven't tried yet because it was sticking, Twinkle. But examining the remote, you notice that the button that was sticking before, as soon as that door opened and those blades started whirling, it has now illuminated a bright red, and the button is popped out from the remote.
I'm gonna press it.
Okay. As soon as you press it, there is a loud clanking noise, and all of the blades along the path retract into the wall. The soft, faint sound of machinery whirring continues ahead of you, as your path seems to have been cleared by pressing the button.
Oh,
Wish I knew that before I tried to get eaten.
guys, the blade stopped.
I hand Twinkle a health potion.
Yes, Scorch, to answer your question, every blade has stopped.
Oh no, I was just stating that to the rest of the party.
Okay.
and she eats the potion,
Yes,
glass and all.
We saw that they stopped moving. We didn't go anywhere yet. I put a potion of healing in the party sheet for you, Twinkle, if you want to grab it out.
Yay. Thank you.
Scorch is gonna continue down the hall. Did Scorch pass any other doors when he came down the hallway?
What happened?
Nothing happened. I just asked if we passed any doors when we came down the hall.
Yeah, I was wondering that also. There was one to our left there as we came down the second time. Or something, it just might be a notch in the wall, I don't know.
Are you there, Jeremy, or did you mute yourself?
I am here. Hello. I just
There you
realized that I realized that I did, and I was talking. So you didn't hear anything I just said, did you?
Nope.
Not a word.
Okay. So as you headed down the hall and continued on, you can see that at the end of the hall opens up into a chamber, and you can see more luminescent machinery and a workstation and a figure wearing a long white coat with his back to you, standing in front of some sort of table or workstation. And there are large, what looks like large Atlas slate style screens made of crystal that are hanging and sort of angled forward that are illuminated, and there's various schematics on each one of them. Twinkle, did you already adjust your health for the healing potion?
Yes.
Okay. And as you head down the hall, Scorch and the rest of you all notice that the 40 feet into this pathway on the sides, on either side, you can see the openings that closed after the blades were retracted. And ahead of you, as you continue to look on, there's no more of those openings on the side of the hallway.
Twinkle, is there any other buttons that are lighting up now?
That red button that was illuminated before Twinkle is now pulsing red. The button is pressed in, and the button is pulsing. This light, this amber reddish light.
Scorch will continue on to the end of the hallway.
Okay. All right. Scorch, as you get to the end of the hall, approaching the larger chamber beyond, make a wisdom save. There was a brilliant flash from the walls and the ceiling and the floor around you. This brilliant flash of this glyph went off. And this arcane energy just sort of in front of your eyes all around you. And then stopped. And whatever it was didn't seem to affect you. And when you look straight ahead of you, the individual wearing the lab coat now whirls around and looks in your direction. And I will reveal the map for you. Which may or may not crash Fantasy Grounds.
My screen did a whole blue glitch earlier.
Oh wow. Blue screen of death?
No, it was a dark blue screen with red squigglies all in it for like half a second. I was like, ah!
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to reduce the resolution of these maps. Holy crap. As nice as they are, they bog down Fantasy Grounds. In the meantime, Scorch, this individual now is turned and is looking in your direction and is staring at you quizzically. It appears to be a light-skinned human male with a tussle of light brown hair that comes down to just below his ears. And he's wearing a pair of spectacles. And he's holding an Atlas slate in one of his hands. And he turns and he looks at you and he says, "You're not supposed to be here."
Alright, Scorched is not going to take any chances. He is going to cast Charm Person on him.
Oh, okay. Give me 1 second.
And I'm going...
Give me 1 second while I look up Charm Person.
Yeah, I'm going to use my sorcery points to extend the spell to 2 hours.
Okay. Well, before you do that, let me finish clearing the map for you, because Fantasy Grounds just doesn't like my map for some reason. Hopefully it's revealing itself for you guys.
I can see something now.
Oh, okay. Good. Because for some reason it wasn't on my end.
Oh, it's a really fancy map.
Yeah. How about that? All right. So you said you're going to cast. Let me just clear the initiative. You said you're going to cast Charm Person at 2nd level. You said.
No, but I'm going to extend the spell to make it 2 hours
Oh,
with
okay.
my
You're gonna
meta magic.
Okay, you're going to extend the spell. All right. So how does Charm Person work? Read that to me.
First, is he hostile towards me?
He is not currently hostile towards you. He seems inquisitive.
All right, then he would make a wisdom saving throw, and if he fails, then he'll treat me as if he was an acquaintance of mine.
Okay. Let's see. Well, I can tell you that your spell. How does that work? How do you cast it? What's the spell component, and how does it say what you do?
It is a visual and semantic.
No, I mean, what does it say in the components? Like, is there a component? Does it say you do something? Do you gesture out with your hand like Darth Vader?
I mean, like, how do I cast a spell?
Yeah. Throw some flair into it. Come on.
I would say, since I'm a sorcerer, he doesn't know too much about arcane casting. Really, like, he just kind of waved the greeting and it just sort of happened.
Okay.
Sort of his wild magic flair.
So, as you cast the spell, and the gentleman wearing the lab coat just sort of smiles, raises his other hand up, and adjusts his spectacles on his face, and he brushes his hair, and he goes, "Oh no, no, that's not going to cut it." And he places the Atlas Slate into the pocket of his coat, and he begins to, out of nowhere, pull a enormous longsword, which immediately bursts into flame.
I'm gonna throw a
As
scorch out of the way.
as he does, the flame doesn't stay. It seems to, as it just sort of appears in his hand in a burst of flame, and then stops. And I need you all to roll initiative.
Well, I try.
You did try. Unfortunately, he is immune to your spell, apparently.
It was a good try.
Alright. Sorry there, Alistair. I didn't move you up. Let me move you up there. Did you also move, Twinkle?
Yes, I will.
Okay. I'll say that you were following behind Alistair. Okay. So, as you're, Scorch, as you're looking, this man, suddenly his skin starts to crack and burn in places, and his robe is now currently burning away as he's holding this weapon in his hand. And you can see now that underneath the robe, he is wearing full plate armor, and he raises up the hand not holding the longsword, and a shield coalesces and emerges out of his hand, and he holds it in front of him and holds out his longsword with a challenge. And as he does so, there is a sound of clattering and clacking as these strange, spindly metal constructs become crawling from out underneath these platforms and up onto the interior of the laboratory.
I think we'll just leave now.
Okay. Their first drone clatters forth. And as it does, this tiny little nozzle emerges from the front of its metal face. And a blast of arcane energy erupts and attempts to attack you. And this little ball of light and energy travels from the creature, the front of its face, out towards you and attempts to hit you. And it blasts into the side of the wall right next to your head, missing. And Alistair, it is your turn.
Alistair cannot hit anything from where he's at. Alistair
Correct.
cannot fire anything without hitting his friends. So
Correct.
Alistair's going to hold his turn.
You could also move into the chamber if you wished. But you're more than welcome to hold your action.
Pardon me, my friends.
He's gonna move his way through everybody to get to the front.
Okay. So you enter into the chamber, Alistair. There's more of that steam that is billowing up, and you can looking left and right. You can see that this strange laboratory seems to be held over some sort of shaft that descends down into the bowels underneath the city. And there's steam rising up into the chamber and filling it, and it billows up into this large domed rock ceiling above you.
And I am going to... with my hand not holding my staff, reach back and grab from my pocket a creepy wooden doll missing a leg that is being used as my druidic function. And
Okay.
I am going to cast Entangled.
Okay. How's that work?
Oh, I cast it and a green energy flows around me to the doll and then to the ground around it. And focused on the drone in the middle, vines and weeds start to like pierce up and around from the edges and the grates and tangle around anything in that skirt, covering it with rough brine, basically, making it difficult for anything to move around. And anything in the box needs to make a saving throw.
Okay.
Strength saving throw.
I believe you can target those things and cast the spell from your action tab. Alrighty.
So it's really hard. Your map takes up my whole screen no matter where I move it, so I have to keep moving it around to get to stuff.
Ah, quit your bitching. I can help you with that if you need me to. I can go on your tab and help you roll actions and all that good stuff. Okay, so let's see. It looks like 2 of the drones fail, and this strange helmeted, burning-skinned person wearing plate armor, he succeeds, and one of the other drones succeeds. So how does that entangle work? Does it, like, if they failed, they would be stuck there, or...?
Yeah, a creature in the area when you customize it are be restrained by the entangling plants until the spell ends. A creature restrained by plants can use this action to make a strength against your spell save DC. On a success, it frees itself.
Okay. A little bit slower next time on your description of your spells, because it's hard to understand what you just said.
Basically, they're restrained and can only take their action to make a strength save to get free.
Okay, so the entangled spell, 2 of the drones now are currently wrapped in these vines that erupted out of nothing. And the other drone just seemed to hop skip above the entangling roots and vines as they coalesced. And the armored individual, he just sort of bashes the roots away with his shield.
And that is my turn. That foot block is now difficult terrain.
Ooh. And Varax, it is your turn. You just watched as Alistair rushed into the chamber and spoke some strange arcane words from his beaky mouth, and vines erupted.
Which area is difficult terrain?
It would be the square that
I made
we
a black
created.
box.
I'm sorry. What's that?
There's a box on the screen that he made, which is hard to see because his dice color is dark.
Got it. Okay, I'm moving
Dark like
now.
my soul.
Okay, Varax, as you stomp into the chamber, you see one of these little spindly little creatures. Scorch, are you also moving there? I apologize if you didn't.
I don't think I have my turn yet.
I was gonna say, for some reason, it looks like it's trying to make you move there.
Hold on, that was me. I accidentally moved.
No worries, I can fix
I
that.
put it back.
I knew it.
That's-
Rax is actually remote controlling.
Of course, I knew it the whole time.
As I stomp into the room, Godzilla style, I yell, "Brax rules!" and go into a room.
Okay.
So I'm gonna wait for my rage effect.
Okay.
By the way, is there a way for me to program for me to add that rage effect, or do we always have to do it?
Oh no, when you say I rage, I turn it on.
Okay, so it's on. Oh, there it is. I
Yep,
see it.
it's currently on. It just, you're like, "Roar!" as you rush into the chamber, pulling out your scimitar and striking the creature, and immediately you just shatter it in a shower of sparks and flame as its spindly body explodes, and half of it slips off of the platform, falling down into the dark crevice below you.
Cool. I'll move to get.
Now, that difficult terrain, does that affect your friends as well, Alistair?
Yes, it sadly just makes anything in their difficult terrain.
Okay.
For
Actually-
intelligence concentrate.
Yeah, I can fix that though. I didn't mean to go on top of the box. I meant to go to the left of the box slightly.
Okay.
I keep getting the box mixed up with the darker gray tiles in the middle of the area.
Yeah, I think if Alistair changes the color of his dice, it will actually lighten up the image. As you
Okay.
pull out a javelin and toss it, it bounces off the carapace of the construct and flips off into the air and down into the chasm, lost forever.
Ah! In my-
Okay. The Helmed Horror. You said it's difficult terrain, so it's half, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. He is going to stomp forth. Stomping forth through the entangled roots. And he will do his full movement and action to get to you. And it kind of looks like Blade from... Now that his skin has been cracked and burning and between the plates of his armor, he kind of looks like Blade from the movie Blade.
Server.
And Twinkle, it's your turn.
I would like to hide.
Okay. Are you going to do anything else?
Yeah. Attempt to backstep.
Okay, so this round you're going to spend hiding.
No, I want to go backstab that guy.
Okay, well you need to roll a stealth check to see if you can do that first. Because you can use your bonus action to hide. Kind of like a free action almost. Okay. So we'll see if he's able to notice you as you move into the room. I will say that he does not notice you as you slink down the hallway between Scorch's legs. As you rush into the chamber up next to him, your weapons drawn.
Oh well.
So as you slash out with your short sword, his armor thick, just sort of ting 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 as you slash across his shield. He raises it, instinctively raises it up, not noticing that you were there until you flashed your sword at him. He now looks in your direction with a steely gaze, like, where did that come from? Workshop drone number 3. Suddenly, these little... There's a bit of a brilliant flash of light, and this creature sort of seems to shimmer, and it passes through the roots that are entangling it, as if they're not even there. And it rushes forth its full movement and action to get to you, Alistair. And Scorched, it is your turn.
Alright, so am I able to walk on those blue tiles?
You can walk on any of the blue tiles, correct?
Just making sure they weren't walls or something.
Nope, they are tiles. They're like intricate, it's strange. It's like you've never seen before. You've never seen metal used in this way. And in the shaded areas, the shaded areas are, there's nothing there. It's just a crevasse with steam and smoke billowing up.
Alright, well, Scorched is going to cast Firebolt on the drone that's still on the ledge over there.
Okay, go right ahead. And there's a erupting orange flame erupts from your outstretched hand and blasts the creature, and the creature explodes. Bits of shrapnel flying out from where it was standing on the platform. And Vrax, it is your turn.
All right.
Slashing out at the drone with your scimitar. Over and over, the thing just seems to stutter step this way and that way out from your attacks. just sort of bobs and weaves on its tiny metal legs.
Okay.
Move over for X, that way I can get to the next one.
I'm gonna use my Hunter's Jaws ability and attempt to bite it off.
Okay. Vrax, you lean forward with your powerful jaws. You snap and your teeth clatter together and you nearly bite your tongue as you miss the creature.
All right. I'm gonna move over to there.
Okay. As you trudge through the vines, they sort of tickle your feet and your ankles as you crunch through them.
Just like home.
And Twinkle, is your turn. You currently have a plate-armored warrior staring at you. And he's holding his longsword as if he's going to strike you with it.
I would like to run behind Alistair and
Okay.
hide.
Alright, so you're going... Well, you can use your action to disengage and your bonus action to hide if you like.
Yes.
Okay, go right ahead. Roll a stealth check. Alright, and you can go ahead and move your character on the map if you like. As the... Let's see if he saw you move away from him. Oh no. He just sort of turns and looks and scans around him all of a sudden, and now he turns his attention towards Alistair. Alistair, it's your turn.
All I heard was a creepy giggle.
He just heard...
Alistair shall hit the robot thingy mabobber in front of him.
Go for it. Unfortunately, that is
Alistair
that
cannot.
that is a miss.
Alistair will use his bonus action to use Shalea on his quarterstaff.
Okay. So there's a brilliant flash of light, and a little bit of tangling roots burst on your quarterstaff as it becomes a little rougher looking. And tiny little mushrooms start popping up on it, boop, 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 in different areas. Teeny tiny little ones.
Alistair stares directly into the eyes of the robot, if it has any.
You may live for now.
And is that all you're going to do in your turn?
My good sir, that is all I can do.
Alright, Scorched, it's your turn.
Scorch is gonna step onto this shaft over here.
Okay. You step forward. Your left leg, as you turn to look at the different creatures, these constructs, and this strange helmed warrior. The vines now kind of tangling around your calf and going up your calf a little bit.
Alright, well, Scorch is gonna look down the line and he's going to cast his scorching spell.
Okay, go for it. Alright, the helmed warrior succeed, and the workshop drone succeeded. So your scorching ray of fire bursts forth, and after the smoke from the flame, as the flame bursts forth and is gone, you can see they're now the helmed warrior is now turning and looking your direction. And he just sort of waves the end of his longsword at you and says, "Nuh-uh." And he now turns, looks at you, Alistair, steps forth with his sword, and attempts to strike you with it. In quick succession, you watch as, with a blinding speed, he makes 2 attacks on you. The first attack hits you, and he strikes you, slashing across you, dealing 5 damage as in his second attack. He whirls around and again with one hand attempts to strike you. His second attack, though, you getting slashed with the longsword, you manage to step back just a little bit as his second attack whiffs past you. The workshop drone turns its attention now to Vrax. And Vrax, you watch as its tiny little face opens up and a burst of light erupts as it attempts to blast you with it. And this little ball of light arcs forth and harmlessly goes past your head, behind you, blasting some of the machinery. The other one, as it is standing there after you struck it, Scorched, a little LED, a little light, crystal light on its back starts flashing and getting faster, and you can hear this sound of like this ramping up of arcane energy. And I need everyone within range to make a dexterity saving throw. I need Twinkle, Alistair, Scorched, Vrax, well, the Helmed Horror, and the other drone. Everybody.
Pretty safe.
Oh, is it a walking fireball?
It is something.
I'll tame him.
Let's see what the
Kamikaze Bot 9000, go!
let's see what the other drone does. The drone actually passed. Oh my. And the Helmed Horror. Oh, he also passed. So let's see. Vrax fails. Twinkle saves. Alistair saves. Scorched saves. So you all take 3d6 fire damage as this thing explodes. So that's going to be 15 damage on you, Vrax.
Okay.
Which would be halved because you have resistance,
Nice.
if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, resist all.
Yeah. So we'll say that everyone took... We'll go ahead and round down. We'll say that everyone took 7 damage. And the drone is... Both drones are now gone. The drone that was firing at you, Vrax, exploded from the explosion, as the other workshop drone exploded. And this brilliant flash of fire, almost like a miniature fireball that burst and then cascaded out like an arc that traveled across and blasted you all with flames. And Twinkle, it's your turn. What would you like to do?
I think I will try to backstab him again.
Okay. He doesn't notice you, so you can roll with advantage. Unfortunately, that is a miss. As his thick armor plates, your sword scrapes across his armor. And he...
Jeremy,
Yes,
Go ahead
sir.
and turn off the low rolls for us and turn the high rolls off for them.
Well, I mean, he is wearing plate armor and carrying a shield, so.
And
You know,
then I
that's fine.
hide.
We just keep rolling under a 10.
Okay. So you're going to hide? Where would you like to hide? You're standing directly in front of him.
Behind Alistair and Scorched.
Okay. So you can move away from him, and you will take an opportunity attack as you move to try and hide. If you would like to take that and try to hide from him. He will at least attempt to score an opportunity attack on you.
Okay.
You can also just disengage and not take the attack and just move away from him.
I'll do that instead since I'm hiding between two people bigger than me.
Okay. So you very quickly he turns and looks in the direction of the attack that came his way, and you run away, squirming between Alistair's legs and behind him. And Scorched, it is your turn.
A bit of Alistair blood trickles onto you as you run under my legs. Twinkle.
And I taste it.
Scorch is going to move down next to this helmed horror, and he's going to cast Shocking Grasp.
Okay. Just to give you guys an idea of what you are currently facing.
I'll end my turn.
That is what you are currently facing.
He doesn't look so tough.
Ah, yeah. Not tough at
He
all.
just looks like a red Scorched.
The-
Maybe not to you, but I maybe reach right over his knee.
The helmed creature turns his attention to you as you strike him with this electricity, this grasp, as you reach out and zap him. And he is now going to turn his longsword to you. And he chops down, attempting to slash you with his first attack, Scorched. But for some reason, the Fantasy Grounds is acting weird tonight and is not accepting my dice rolls. And you are struck with this.
Actually, this morning.
Yeah?
I'm going to cast Shield.
You're going to cast Shield? Okay.
Not to correct you, Jeremy, but it's actually morning right now, not tonight.
Correct. Well, it's tonight somewhere.
Sure.
Whoever's listening right now might be nighttime. Okay. He will attempt to hit you again as your energy shield it emits from your body and blocks his attack. And once again, his sword bashes into your energy shield that erupts and does no damage to you. And Alistair, it's your turn.
Alright, so I can use the word on myself because I'm a creature I can see in range, correct?
No. What are you trying to do?
Fuck. Healing word on myself to heal myself.
Healing word is cast on something that you can see within range. So technically, you could look at yourself and heal yourself. So like you could
my bonus action?
technically, unless it says otherwise in the description, I would always say, yeah, you can just look down at yourself and cast healing word on yourself. Is that all you have? You don't have cure wounds?
Yeah, I don't have cure wounds.
Okay.
I shall heal myself as a bonus action because it's one action.
Yes, that is correct. This
And then, as my action,
Okay.
as I got you. I'll do some flavor text here for you because this is going to be epic. As I look down at myself, seeing the blood, I cast Cure Wounds. Green, ancient energy covering my body, healing a bit as blood seeps back into the wounds. I look up at the fiery, armored-clad figure in front of me, and I grip my staff and donk it on the ground as spores release from my cloak around me, blooming into shrooms around my feet. my staff growing green, the vines growing more as I look at him.
You have angered me greatly, and now you will pay.
And I end my turn.
Okay.
And I'm gonna eat a mushroom.
Just Twinkle's picking mushrooms off of your body right now. Vrax, it's your turn.
Very well.
I would say it would take your full action to get there if you're stomping through those vines.
No, at this point, I'm pretty sure my concentration is out the window, so it's gone
Okay.
now.
All right.
They're all.
The vines have withered away. You stomp through and around your friends towards this creature. And you hit, striking forth with your scimitar into the creature. There's a blast of arcane light as this amber glow from the edges of its plate armor. And then as you strike out again, this time it raises its shield up as it turns around to meet you. And it catches your scimitar right in the edge of it. Your scimitar bites into the metal of the shield and he grins. You can just see his face now is no longer cracked. It has fallen away and you just see burning eyes as his face caves in. And it's just fiery energy within this helmet.
Very well. I'll end my turn.
Okay. Twinkle, is your turn again.
I'm going to move
Okay.
here. And I want to try to stab him.
Okay, keep in mind you can use your bonus action to attempt to make your attack use your sneak attack damage.
Yes, I like
Okay.
that sound.
Then go ahead and roll your stealth. Oh yeah, he's not seeing you. That's a 27.
Super stealth.
Super stealth as you just kind of juke around Alistair with your blade drawn. And that I would say that would be advantage because he don't see you, so your attack would be an advantage. And that's definitely a hit as you stab out with your short sword in between the plates of the helmed horror, and you just see a little burst of fiery energy as you stab into the creature. And it bursts forth harmlessly in your direction. And then as you retract your short sword from between the plates.
And I will end my turn.
Okay. He turns around, the warrior turns, and seeing that he is now surrounded, his first attack, he is going to attempt to strike out at Alistair. With his sword, he spins and slashes downward with his longsword. Alistair just watches his blade goes, and you just manage to stutter step back as he does so. He then follows through and attempts to hit Vrax with his longsword. Vrax, you watch as the blade comes forth. He just manages, from the damage that is taken so far, seems to be a little bit shook, and you just manage to duck out of the way as the longsword whiffs in front of your face.
At this point, do we all get advantage against them?
I would say that Vrax and Scorch do get advantage because you're technically flanking.
Okay.
I now will raise up my poison chalet quarterstaff
Okay.
and attempt to just jab at him and hit him and just basically primal mold on him.
That is a hit. But even though it did impact, it seemed to partially resist your damage.
And then I'm going to use a key point to do 2 unarmed strike.
Go for it. Your first hit unfortunately missed as you tried to elbow it and then follow through with another punch. It just managed to bong him in the side of his, harmlessly in the side of his helmet as he turns and looks back at you.
Alistair smiles and waves.
And Varax, it is your turn. You have advantage.
Thank you.
Yeah, technically the rules for advantage is that you be in a diagonal corner to corner. But as long as you have a friend who is across from them, that's how I will accept advantage on an attack. So your first attack did not connect, but with follow through with your scimitar and slash into it, moving past the shield and scraping across the front of its plate armor is now bursting open, and there's fiery energy erupting from it. Scorch, it is your turn.
Scorch is gonna grab onto this horde. He's gonna cast Shocking Grasp one more time.
All right. That's a hit. Now the panel in which you hit the creature with it blasts. This blast of energy, this part of its plate armor flies off into the crevice below, and you can see now just this glowing amber glow beyond the plate, where it's just a hollow creature with just fiery energy within it.
And as a bonus action, Scorch is going to get a second wind.
Okay.
So I'll heal 9.
Okay. Scorches, you resolve to. You're not breathing air, obviously, but your chest heaves as you feel like this arcane energy within you. You heal a little bit, and Vrax, it is your turn. You just watch Scorch blast a piece of panel off of the back of this thing.
Very well.
Oh my. You just watch as Vrax critically slashing forth with your scimitar. You cut into its helmet and split the helmet in half. And there is a brilliant blast of energy as its arms and legs start popping off. And bits of it are falling into the crevice below. And you are all out of combat.
Woohoo!
Alistair twirls his quarterstaff and slams it into the ground again, the spores retreating into his cloak, and the mushrooms and shrooms around wilting away into nothing.
And Vrax is picking up that flaming sword and checking it out.
Okay.
But I was eating those.
Vrax, as you pick up the weapon, this sword appears to be a little bit nicer than longswords that you've noticed in the past. Like it seems like it has like these little strange runes that are carved into the blade.
I'm gonna wave it around the air and yell things like fire, incinerate, burst, and see if anything happens.
Try Spark.
Spark. Sparky. You know what? I'm just gonna put it.
How
back
about-
in front of me.
How about Flame On?
Ooh, let's try that. Flame on.
Nothing happens.
Try making fire sounds.
Whoosh.
I will throw
It's
that
not
into
working.
I will throw that into your inventory, Vrax.
So, What is all this?
Looking around the chamber, you see strange machinery. There's brilliant arcs of green lightning that are erupting around this desk area, and you can see what looks like long bits of machinery with green arcs of light coming off of crystals.
I have
And
a small question.
yes,
The party loot. How
Yes.
is that carried? Is that like an extra bag that we just kind of carry around with us that has the party loot in it?
I
since-
just assume that you attached a large knapsack to the back of Scorch, and he's just carrying it around.
it's more or less essentially the way that works is I throw it in the party loot, and then it's up to you guys to discern where that goes, who picks it up.
Because I know I interrupted your description and you haven't gotten there yet, but I'm seeing knickknacks on the table, and I would like to just start taking everything in the future, just scripting it all into the party loot.
Okay. Well, as you approach the table, you see a chest that is open on the ground, and there are what looks like different colored crystals that are sitting in a refined crystalline dust, a multicolored dust. And there's larger crystals that are sitting within the open chest. You see another chest which is on the table, and it appears to, on the bottom corners of each side of the chest, appear to be clamped down into the table.
This must be the dragon's blood.
Let's open it and see. Hey, Twinkle, get over here and take a look at this. See if you can open it. Maybe we can open it.
I thought it was opened already. It's just clamped down onto the table.
What?
Now, if you look on the map, you'll see a smaller chest, and then there's a chest on the ground that's bigger that's open.
Oh, that one. Okay.
I don't see any blood.
What's this device over here?
It appears to be some kind of display. If you look up, it very, very much resembles a circular crystalline atlas slate, much larger display. And as you approach it, you hear a voice that erupts from it, and this disembodied floating head now fills the screen. And you hear a voice say, "Good day to you all. It appears that you have stumbled into my personal workshop without my permission, and destroyed my assistant. What can I do for you?"
Could you direct
We're
us-
looking for dragon's blood.
Dragon's blood, you say? And who sent you?
Duncan?
Oh, that rat bastard, Minotaur. Very well. I shall deal with him accordingly. I assume you're here for the dragon's blood. I am assuming that Zesh sent you.
Guys, please hush.
Zesh is
Yes,
the
that is
guy
the
that
one
Duncan-
that sent Duncan for us.
Very well. I had intended to sell the dragon's blood to Zesh's competitor Nihilor, but no matter. You may take it if you can. And as he says that, the screen now blips out of existence, and the disembodied floating head disappears as the screen goes dark.
What does it mean if we can?
I don't know. Let's just take it. He's stupid.
Scorch will try and take the closed chest.
You're going to try to remove it from the desk?
Yes.
Okay. It comes off of the desk, and a sort of a ripping sound as these clawed feet, which are on the bottom four corners of the chest, rip off of it. And as you do, there is a brilliant flash of light. And everyone in the room except for Scorched falls unconscious. Twinkle, Vrax, Alistair, you all fall unconscious and your bodies slump to the ground. And Scorched, you're now holding this chest as some sort of trap seems to have triggered, and all of your friends are now asleep.
Scorch will put the small chest inside the bigger chest, and then he'll see if he can pick that up.
It's a pretty heavy chest, but you're able to heft it with your strength. You're able to pick it up. So now you're holding it two-handed, looking at your friends who are now passed out unconscious before you.
Scorch will walk over to them while holding the chest, and then he'll try and shake or kick Frax awake.
Okay.
Does he wake up?
He does not. And after you stomp Vrax, he snores and snorts loudly. And after about a minute, each of the three of your friends now start to, one by one, come back to their senses and their eyes open and blink a few times. And Vrax is now staring up at Scorch and laying on the ground, who's holding a big chest in his arms.
I think we can take it now. Let's head out of here.
Brought me a gift.
I think this is the dragon's blood.
Oh, yes. Hold on. Is there anything else?
As Alistair wakes up, he just screeches out, just looking like he just had a horrible, horrible dream. And he just yells out, "Hurry up!"
No, he yells who?
Nope, he shouts out Arya.
What happened, buddy? Did you hoot yourself?
No, it's my sister. Don't worry about it. Let's get out of here.
Okay. I'm gonna put Twinkle up and put her in my pocket, and we're gonna go ahead and loot the rest of this room.
Yay! Like a kangaroo.
You don't find anything else of import and within the room. It appears that the majority of what you find are books. You find vials and contraptions that seem to be used for experiments and tools that are used for creating devices.
Do any of those books like that would be worth money, or possibly able to be resold, or just plain interesting?
You're not sure. Most of them seem like they're journals, and as if you open the journals and flip through the pages, whatever script is within them appears to be either written in common with like some margins that are written in some sort of coded language.
Do anybody
Duncan
find any
might like
books that look
those.
like Abyssal? Abyssal books are always the best. No,
I think Duncan might like those books.
Duncan.
I mean, this might be, or those books might be a way to make dragon's blood, so I might want to find another person to make dragon's blood for him now.
Didn't he say that he had acquired it, not made it?
I don't know, I'm sure this is the place where they make dragon's blood.
Well, cool. Let's take the books.
Okay. There's a series of 3 books on the shelf that all appear to be marked volumes 1, 2, and 3. And there's some sort of strange custom rune on each cover.
Nice. Taking these. You know, guys, if they don't want these books, I might have the pages pulled out. Put a new book in here and have it rebound. I mean, this rune on the cover looks awesome. I bet it means Brax. If it doesn't mean Brax, it's about to mean Brax.
Brax, I don't think you can just go around rewriting runes like that.
Why not?
Because runes can be very ancient, and you don't want to accidentally start a fight with, a god. Maybe not just yet, anyway.
Well, let me ask you this. Where did the runes come from?
If I recall, runes are usually ancient and sometimes powerful. Other times, they could just be absolute trash.
Yes, but essentially, weren't they made up by somebody at some point?
Usually to convey words of power.
Like Brax. Very well. Mark this day in your calendar, gentlemen. Today, a new rune has been created. It means Brax.
But you need to create it.
I
By
did.
all means, you can, but that's already a created one.
No. I stole it. That's better than creating it. Now it's mine.
Scorch, it'll help here.
I don't see any problem with it.
That's right, Scorch. This says Brax, doesn't it?
It does now.
No.
I can't read it, so it says Rax now.
Brax, volumes 1, 2, and 3.
I'm gonna laugh. if
Scorch is gonna
Richmond
make his way
meant
to the
we
elevator.
would-
Yeah, let's get out of here, guys.
Okay. So you all
We are
pass out of the laboratory down the hallway towards the elevator, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Leaving. Twinkle is apparently in your pocket, Brax.
Yes, well, it's more like I just have Twinkle hanging from a hook on my belt.
Okay.
It's kind of like I just take her clothes and hang her up there, and she just bounces along as we go. She usually has fun.
I gotcha.
Half
Is she awake yet?
man, half kangaroo.
Also, as we go back up to the second story, we're not stopping there. We're going to go up that staircase and then loop around and go up the staircase to the third story.
Okay, there actually wasn't a third story. That staircase, that staircase led up to, within the warehouse, led up to the balcony, which led to a door, which you saw the other side of that door when you went into the selling room. On the other side of the
Oh.
balcony.
Are you saying that we've explored this entire building?
Apparently so.
All
And-
right, guys.
and-
we got
and the-
confirmation it's done.
And this secret laboratory.
Well, let's go drop the dragon's blood off, get our money, and head back to Impetus Arcana.
Yeah. And I'm gonna say I don't think it's very secret if there's a giant elevator leading down to it in like one of the main rooms you enter through.
It's
Well, I
pretty
mean,
secret if everybody that sees it dies.
it's not like anyone who comes in to buy something from the shop is going to just go through this dude's shop into the warehouse. I mean, it was protected by 2 mimics.
Yes, but what I'm saying is if the guards had any reason to come in here, it's not like they couldn't just see, oh, hey, there's an elevator.
So? What are you trying to say? People can't have elevators?
I'm just saying, I don't feel like it's very secret. Even
Also-
Dinkles had a better secret laboratory.
Also, because I haven't mentioned it yet, you haven't seen a single guard since you've been down here in Kyber's Gate.
It's because we're down in the cogs. There are no guards in the cogs. Only
Good, fuck the guards.
All
Are you
right.
get on the elevator or not, Alistair?
Bye, Alistair. The elevator's leaving.
Listen, I have to do this like one by one. I have to move and move the map and stretch the map and then move.
Well, that's okay. I can fix all of that for you. by doing this.
Just kills my character.
No. By doing that. Now you can no longer have access to the map. Alright,
All
so
right.
so do you all leave the shop as soon as you head outside?
Yes, we're all going to go see Duncan, meet up with him. What time is it?
I would say that it took approximately about an hour. So it's currently just after 7. The whole ordeal, going through the shop, destroying the constructs, delving down into the laboratory, and then encountering this helmed horror. I almost said horror. That's not what you fight. You did not find fight a helmed horror. You are now find yourselves outside of the establishment known as Shamakar.
While we wait for Duncan, Twinkle, do you want to open the smaller chest?
Yes.
Okay.
Where's
Uh,
Duncan
I'll
meeting
give
us
Twinkle
again?
the small chest.
Where's Duncan meeting us? Is he meeting us here, or are we meeting him somewhere else?
Behind is what I remember.
Yes, Duncan asked you to meet him at 9 p.m. behind Shamakar. So you now have a couple of hours to kill.
I'd like to think that Rax and Twinkle are just around a clock stabbing it now.
You are all still you're all kind of messed up. Every single one of you is kind of messed up. By the way, those temporary hit points are gone. By the way, Alistair.
Yes, thank you.
Scorch has worse.
All right. So Scorch, you hand the sealed chest, smaller chest, which was inside the larger chest that you grabbed, and you hand it over to Twinkle. Correct?
Yes.
Right, Twinkle, you now have a chest which was relatively small for Scorch, but in your hands, setting it down on the ground, it's a bit bigger. And would you like to attempt to open it?
Yes.
Make a dexterity check with Thieves' Tools, pretty please. Oh, natural 20. Twinkle, you just poke the lock in the front of the chest with your tool, and it springs open, and it is now open. And there's a bit of a pneumatic hiss. Just strange. You've never encountered a chest that sounds like that when you open it.
Ta-da!
Why did it hiss like that? Is there a snake in it?
If so, I call dibs.
What's inside the chest?
You see a padded interior, and you see rows upon rows of the tops of these enclosed vials. And you see, looking in the chest, you can see that there are 30 of these vials.
Guys, I think that's the dragon's blood.
So what's in the bigger chest?
The bigger chest was apparently full of multicolored crystals. Some amber, some larger amber crystals, which are all seated within this multicolored crystalline sand. And you see a few other smaller crystals that are sort of pinkish red.
Ooh, those look like money.
You can hear the din coming from outside within the alleyways, the dark alleyways of Kyber's Gate. And are you all doing this behind the building where Duncan said he wanted to see you?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
Someone make a perception check for me. Who's looking out?
I got it.
Alistair is. He looks everywhere at once. His head's constantly spinning.
Alistair, as you turn and look around on a nearby rooftop, you see a hulking creature with another creature that's smaller sitting on its back. And it appears to be staring at the four of you.
It looks like we're being watched.
Twinkle, get the smaller chest and hide now.
Okay.
And Alistair, as you continue to watch, the creature now starts moving along the top of the roof with its large claws extending over the edge of the roof. The creature climbs down the side of the building and lands on the ground in front of you. And the creature begins moving closer to the rest of you. The large individual now slips off the side of this metallic creature. And I will show you a picture of what the creature looks like. Looks like this.
Scorch wants one.
And the large individual now pulls back a hood, revealing a horned head. And it appears to be Duncan. And he strides forth and he says, I know I said 9, but I didn't expect you to move so quickly. Hello, my friends. T in the chat. What is that?
That was Rachel hitting her talk button a whole bunch of times. And then hitting it by accident.
Okay.
Whoops.
No worries.
I blame the cats. They have been surrounding my laptop.
Duncan now strides forth. He's left his axe behind, slung into the side of this creature on this large saddle. This metallic, just horrifying, angular, sharp, angry-looking creature. And its mouth is sort of hovering open and closed as it appears to be just sort of bit of strange discharge drooling from its mouth. And Duncan says, "Oh, pay no attention to Shard. So, I assume if you're here, you must have been successful."
Of course we were successful. Did you doubt us?
"Of course not. I did not doubt you at all. I was just shocked and a bit surprised that you had returned so quickly, although it seems like a little worse for wear."
We got a little roughed up, and just for future reference, when you're coming to meet somebody after they just went through somewhere getting beat up and stealing something that's technically illegal for you, you probably shouldn't roll up on something so big. We almost ran. You'd have been chasing us all over the city just trying to explain what was going on.
Fair enough. I haven't taken Shard out for a run in a while. I thought I had more time. Making a pass back through this way, I just happened to see you coming back from the Wounded Dragon.
It's a fine looking mount you got there.
No, Shard's a good boy. And he reaches out and he pats the side of its enormous, angular, metallic head.
Well, you got our payment?
Of course. I never renege on a deal, of course.
Here you go.
Thanks, Twinkle. I'll take the box from her. Yeah, just so we can look like professionals, go ahead and pay Scorched here, and I'll have the chest right here waiting for you. And as I say that, I pop it open so he can see the contents of the inside of the chest.
And Duncan, holding this massive sack, that's weighted sack in his meaty hand, he begins to, his hand stretches out and offers it to Scorched. As he looks, glances and says, "Oh, everything seems to be in order, and it also looks like you had yourself helped yourself to a few things while you were down there."
Oh yeah, that shop is no longer in business, sir.
"Very well." And he hands the sack to you, and I will drop that gold into the party's inventory.
What? Such is the nature of dealing with people like us, right?
Indeed. Zesh will be very pleased. And he takes the items from you. And I'm also putting those books and the chest of crystals into the inventory for you guys as well.
Thank you.
That way you have them, and I don't forget to give them to you.
Is it in the party loot?
Everything's in the party loot.
Cool. We can sell it off all off from there and then spread everything out if need be.
All right. Pleasure doing business with you. I'm sure that my patron will call on you again someday. Keep your ear to the ground.
Scorch is gonna look over to. Scorch is gonna look at Frax and is like, "Should we give him the books too?"
And Duncan's ears perk up, his big dumb cow ears, and he goes, "Books?"
Oh yeah, we got these books down there. We thought they might be related to the creation of this stuff, so we brought them up here. See if you're interested in them.
And you're offering these to Zesh freely?
I mean, you know, freely is a very loose term. We do work on a tip basis, so I mean, here, peruse book number 1. Let me know if you're interested or not, and if you're feeling generous, maybe we can work something out.
He looks at him and he says, "Well, I don't understand any of this crap, but they do seem like they're important. I'll tell you what, I'll throw another 1,000 on top of the gold that you've already been paid. If that's agreeable, I'll take them off your hands."
That's perfectly agreeable, but I just have one more thing. Can
Sure.
you throw Twinkle up on top of your mount and take her around the block one time?
Absolutely. Where's
Twinkle,
your
you hear that?
Where's your little friend?
Yay!
She's about to jump on you. Catch.
And as he hands another sack of gold over to you, Scorched, and he says, "And don't be afraid of Shard. He won't bite." And
She does. Keep your hands away from her mouth.
he steps up, puts a foot in this one edge of the saddle, pulls himself up, and then reaches down with one muscular arm and grabs Twinkle and pulls him up into his lap. Into his lap. And he says, "Hold on now." And in very quick succession, Shard leaps up into the air onto the side of one of the buildings in the alley. And he begins running and leaping around Kyber's Gate with you on back. The wind is hitting your face as you are a blur of motion as this metallic creature undulates, its body undulating, leaping from rooftop to rooftop, Twinkle. And he basically takes you on a tour of all of Kyber's Gate across the rooftops. You can see the amber glow in the distance of the lava rivers.
Woo!
Scorched, you definitely need one of those.
Is Duncan still with us, or did he ride off?
It takes your friend off for a short ride, and he comes back after about 5 minutes. And the creature, boom, 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 stomps and slides to a stop in front of the three of you. Her hair a bit frazzled, sitting up in front of the saddle. Duncan adjusts himself in the stirrups, and then with one arm just sort of lets Twinkle slide down his arm onto the ground now. She's a bit frazzled. The wind has blown her hair back. She kind of looks like a troll doll.
She is a troll doll.
It's true, she is a troll doll.
All right, you little trash gnome, get over here. Hope you had fun.
Woohoo!
So
Duggan looks.
Duncan, where'd you get a mount like that?
Well, the perks of working for the right people. Perhaps you can earn one yourself one day if you continue to do work for Zesh.
It's not a bad idea, guys. Zesh seems to be a permanent fixture in the city. I don't think it'll do us no ill will to stay on his good side.
I suppose so.
Well, Duncan, we're gonna head off then. It was good meeting you. If you ever need us, send me a bird.
I plan on it. You've proved yourselves to be quite resourceful. I would be careful down here in Kyber's Gate. The proprietor of the shop will be ever so irritated at your procuring items from his shop and wrecking his shop if whatever you did, I'm sure. To defend yourselves, no worry. But Cass can be a bit tricky.
Yes, he was planning to sell the dragon's blood to one of the competitors.
Oh, I have no doubt. That's why Zesh wanted you to go get it in the first place. He was afraid that might happen.
Well, if we ever run across him, I'll shake him till some gold falls out. It'll be okay.
I would be delighted to hear that story, my friend.
You're
In
a
the
pretty big guy
meantime,
yourself. Why don't you come help us sometime?
if I am ever in the need of traveling with a group such as yourselves, I would, of course, be honored. But for now, I must return to my patron and deliver these goods. And I will allow you to go on your way. I bid you farewell. Well, thank you. You have been as well. I bid you all farewell, and we will meet again, I am sure of it.
Later.
And the metallic, long, panther-like metallic creature with the strange angular face leaps up into the air onto the side of one of the buildings, and you just watch it bound off into the distance, and you hear the sound of its footfalls peter off as Duncan guides Shard off into the distance away from you.
Gentlemen, I would like to take a moment to break out of character and just make an observation.
Go right ahead.
Sacrilege.
Has anybody noticed so far that whenever we deal with bad guys, they are often way more polite than the good guy?
You know, you got a point there.
Yeah, I don't understand why it is, but every time we meet good guys, they're like half asshole, half, oh my god, let's get something done. It's so important, hurry the fuck up. And then every time we meet bad guys, they're just like the nicest, most gentlemanly, proper people. It makes it really hard to be good. And you know I have a tendency towards being bad anyway.
And you also, I added 325 experience for each of you for defeating the resistance within the laboratory.
Thank you. Well, if we don't have anything else to do, guys, I think we need to go back to Impetus Arcanum and see if we can get somebody to identify all the stuff we got.
And maybe take a quick sit down and have some food again. I'm rather hungry.
What
Devin,
is in your
I don't
background?
know what is playing in the background, but that is annoying as hell.
Let me see if I can turn sensitivity. There's people playing around, so I turned it down a bit. So I just got to get a bit closer.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just all of a sudden I just hear dan 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 dan. Gonna get
No!
us. You're gonna get us copyright strike.
Yeah, sorry. There's the neighbors are outside, so I just turned the sensitivity down a bit.
Okay, thank you. All right, so you are now all standing in the dark behind Shamakar. What would you all like to do now?
We are leaving. We're going to Impetus Arcanum.
Oh, you're heading to the Impetus Arcanum?
Yes, we are. We need to get somebody to try to identify this stuff for us.
Okay.
I don't know if you noticed or not, but we're not exactly a group of identifying people.
So by saying Impetus Arcanum, you're referring to the Orion Tower, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Just so we're clear.
Unless they have outposts that provide, services to members of the Order that don't require us to go to Orion Tower. Is there somebody close by with the group that could help us with identifying items?
You could always try your ring.
For the ring, didn't we need to speak a name to reach an?
Actually, no, we can transmit to everybody. I got a way to do it. What was the name of the area that we're in?
You're currently in Kyver's Gate.
Attention. Anybody in the vicinity of Kyver's Gate that is able to help a member with identification services, please speak up now with your name so I can contact you directly.
Okay. There is a bit of a pause, and then about 30 seconds goes by, and you hear a sound of a very soft sounding voice that perks up, and it says, "Let's see, what do we have here? I haven't heard your voice before. I assume you're brand new conscripts for the Order?"
That is correct. I am Vrax Krokna.
"Oh, my name is Vesper Lind, and I can be your contact for the Order here in the Cogs. If you like, you can come to my office."
Thank you. Go ahead and give me directions to where you're at, and I'll meet you there immediately.
"Certainly. It's not too far away from the border between Ashblack and Kyver's Gate. You'll find a building with a green glowing sign that looks like an ever-seeing eye."
Very well. Thank you. We should be there shortly. After turning off my ring, I'm going to look over at Alistair and tell him to fly ahead and see if he can go ahead and eyeball the building before we get there. And we are going to start walking in that direction.
Okay.
And Alistair will do exactly that.
You have to get a bird's eye view.
Alistair, as you fly over the city, the amber glow from the lava flows off in the distance. And you can see that beyond there are arcing bits of stone, these columns that are almost like shaped like a rainbow, and there's several of them. And they seem to define the border between Ashblack and Kyver's Gate as you get closer. And after several minutes flying above, you can see off in the distance the green glowing eye, which it seems to be emanating from the top of this building, and it's spinning slowly. And the eye is blinking. Every few seconds, the eye closes and opens.
Do I see anything that looks sketchy or any shitty people kind of blocking the way or anything?
The cities are the alleyways, the cramped alleyways around the building are all fairly empty. Every so often you see something that just kind of skitters off in the darkness. Like you see it for a moment and then it's gone. And you see other individuals. You see a couple of hobgoblins that are walking with a trio of goblins that are trussed up on a staff, and they're holding them above their shoulder as they're walking through. And they walk off into the distance.
Tell me the name of our contact again so I can make note of it.
That would be Vesper Lind. Lynd. Vesper Lind. Vesper.
Okay, yeah, Vesper Lind. Got you. Thanks.
Okay.
I return back and relay what I saw.
I saw a few hobgoblins. Kind of running around, but nothing that sticks out as dangerous or trappish.
And Alistair, you can also relay to your friends that it'll take you about 20 minutes to walk there.
And it's about a 20-minute walk.
So 40 for me.
Jump up on my shoulder. We can go.
No. Alistair swoops down like a bird of prey and picks up Twinkle and flies off with it.
That's if she wants you. That's if she wants you to see her.
I'd say you'd have to make an attack roll on that. She's skittish. She's probably running in circles.
No, it would be more like your perception versus her stealth, because she could very easily slip into darkness away from you.
Fine, I won't carry her through the sky and take her there. That's her law.
All right, so you all head towards Vesper's place of business.
Yes.
Okay. So it's a good 20 minutes traveling through the cramped crisscross maze of alleys between buildings and homes and shops. You find yourselves on the border between Ashblack and Kyber's Gate, and you see this building made of sort of a reddish purple brick. A few windows up on the second level, and you can see the large luminescent green eye which is spinning slowly. And as you approach the outer facade, you can see that there is a single door which is set into the front of the building. And there's a few individuals that are off, say about 20 yards away, that are sort of leaning against one of the other buildings, one of the other businesses nearby. And a few scattered individuals that are just sort of walking through the streets, not paying you any never mind.
Do they throw up any hand signs at us?
They don't. You can roll a perception check if you like.
Yes, because we're in a gang. We should have hand signs.
Is there a sign the middle finger?
They don't appear to even really notice you as you get closer to the front facade of Vesper's place.
Oh, they're good. Okay, let's go on in.
Okay. As you approach the outside, the exterior of the place, you can see that it is well lit within. And as you open the door and step inside, you're immediately, you feel the air inside is a little bit cooler. And there's a little bit of a very soft, fine, cooling wind that seems to be emanating and blowing through within. And as the door shuts, there's a bit of a pneumatic hiss, like a... And
it's freezing in here.
The smoke and foul smell of garbage, which was permeating the air everywhere outside within Kyber's Gate, is no longer present within. And there's a bit of a lavender smell that wafts within. And as you're now standing within this parlor, a couple of chairs seated everywhere, a couple of ever-bright lanterns that give off this sort of a purple glow that sort of shifts between purple and blue and red. And a woman wearing exquisite leather armor, reddish leather armor, now begins descending down from a staircase into the room. And she has long silver hair, and she has silver bangles that hang from both of her arms, several of them on each side. And she has a data slate in her hand that she was looking at as she headed down the stairs. She lifts her eyes up from the data slate and looks at all of you. And you can see she's wearing a wide-brimmed hat with a silver feather coming out the back of it. And she takes her hat off and rests it on the table nearby. And she says, "Well, hello there. I assume that you're my contact familiar."
Yes, I am Vrax Crocodile, and I would say that is a lovely suit of armor. Pray tell, what did you carve it from?
Oh, this... I took it from a rust... It's leather that's been tanned from the hide of a rust monster.
Amazing. Does it still carry some of the properties?
Well, why don't you try?
Very well. Dagger? Dagger? Somebody have a dagger?
I have a dagger.
Twinkle, go touch her. Just press it gently against her leather. Don't cut her, Twinkle.
Oh, okay.
Don't bite her either.
She holds
Don't
out. She holds out
Ah,
her.
come on!
She holds out her forearm. The silver bangles kind of shift and move as you press your dagger against the edge of her chitinous leather armor. The blade starts to pit and pock, and it begins to disintegrate slightly. Like the edge is dulled immediately. And she just kind of smiles as she looks at you, and she says, I can replace that for you. There's no problem.
Oh, it's not a problem. We have several daggers. That is an amazing suit of armor, but I notice it doesn't affect your bangles, or it seems not to. Is that a property of the armor itself?
Oh no, that's something else.
Amazing. Well, yes, we, in the course of our adventures, have run across several items that we know very little about, and we were hoping you could help us identify them and give us the nature of their value, or if they're actually useful to us.
Of course, anything for fellow members of the Order. How many items did you wish for me to identify for you?
I just moved all my extra stuff out of my inventory into the party.
Okay.
And I'm basically just going to take all that stuff that we have in the party sheet and dump it on a table and say, why don't you tell me what looks like it should even be bothered with? And we'll go from there. Because I'm not really good at this.
Do you also put the potion bottles, pull those out of your sack?
Yes, but there are 6 of them, so let's just say I pulled them out.
Okay. She begins looking, as there's a bit of an oval table within this little parlor area, and she says, oh, well, this will take some time. If you have the time, you're more than welcome to rest here.
Okay.
Yes, please.
So you can all take a short rest and spend hit die if you wish.
Thank you. How do we do that again?
I will mark the party as taking a short rest, and then you can roll hit die from your main tab on your character sheet.
How many do we roll?
As many as you like. You can
Scorch will also give her the chest of crystals as well.
Okay. And you can put those all into the party inventory if you like, and I will identify them for you. So, after some time, the woman with the silver hair, she begins looking at each of the items, lifting them up, and one by one just sort of turning them over. And she pulls a bit of her silver feather off of her hat and pulls out a pearl and takes it and crushes it in her hand, and then takes the feather and begins to rub the pearl, the essence of the pearl, over the feather. She then takes that feather with this encrusted pearlescent essence on it, and she lights it, burns it like a stick of incense, and sets it on the edge of the table, and she begins to speak a few arcane words. And one at a time, she begins to go over each of the items. The few trinkets that you placed on the table, she looks at each one of them, and a bit of a smile curls in one corner of her mouth, and she says, oh, this is lovely. Well, I can tell you that these items, the jar full of griffin grease, the orb filled with smoke, the silver spoon, and the vest, those are common, very simple items, appear to be made by someone personally. They're not widely distributed. They don't appear to have any sort of significance.
So the moving smoke, that's just there for a visual effect? It's like a countertop piece?
It's a child's toy, my friend. the vest with the pockets, it's interesting because I have heard of individuals having vests of this sort, but that were magical, and many of the pockets were used as a magical device. Similar to that of what perhaps you've heard of a bag of holding or a haversack.
Yes.
Very similar in nature. Well, I've never seen one with so many pockets, and this one doesn't appear to have any magical properties.
Very well.
And she goes along and she pulls out the very fine breastplate armor and holds it up. And she says, well, this appears to be enchanted so that it will never rust or deteriorate. And it also, this will magically resize to anyone.
So it's the opposite of your armor.
Yeah.
Intriguing.
Not sure if I would want to test that theory on something that looks so fine. Same with the chain shirt. Very similar, very finely made. And then she turns and she grabs this dagger. And the very ornate scroll work that covers almost the entire surface of the dagger. And she says, oh, very, very nice. This is unmistakably a very fine weapon. And no doubt will be a fine replacement for the one that you just tested on my armor, little one. And she hands the dagger to you.
Yay!
And then she begins to turn her attention to the short bow. She pulls that out, and she can see that it is also a very fine weapon. Unmistakably much better than the fare that you'll find in most weapon shops. And then she turns, finally, the last weapon on the table, she pulls out the longsword. And you can see there's a gemstone that is set into the guard. And you can see now there are stylized flames that have been etched along the length of the blade. Oh, this is a very fine weapon indeed. I believe these are referred to as flame tongues.
Intriguing. What does it do?
Well, in addition to slashing and cutting your foe, it will also illuminate areas for you. It sheds bright light when you summon the flames that come from the weapon itself. And while it is ablaze, you'll be able to actually inflict a fire onto your enemies and light them ablaze.
How do you activate such a blade? Because I was playing with it earlier and seeing the flames and seeing it in action myself. I knew it was capable of that. I just didn't know how.
Well, my friend, you must know the command word. The command word is actually inscribed onto the blade itself in Elvish. And
I knew
she
I
looks
should have learned Elvish.
she looks at the blade and says, this one appears to be... Ah, yes. Bright Thistle is the command word for this sword. In fact, it appears this sword is called Bright Thistle.
Intriguing.
And then she rests the sword back onto the table and turns her attention to the chest of the fine multicolored dust and the bits of shards of crystal. And she says, oh my, where did you find this? You have all been ever so naughty, haven't you? And she picks one of the crystals up and holds it in her hand and says, do you know what this is?
Is it rock candy?
No,
Something a bad guy had.
my friend, this is dragon shard. In fact, it appears you have two different types of dragon shard. This one here, and she holds up the smaller pinkish red crystals. This is Eberron dragon shard. It's one of the most commonly used dragon shards in many arcane devices within our society. The other one, on the other hand, is Syrin's dragon shard, which, and she holds it up, it has sort of an amber golden color. These are very rare, they're only found in meteorites. And I'll fetch a fairly decent price.
Could you give us an idea of who would be best to haggle with over the price of these items?
Well, I wouldn't trust anyone down here in the cogs. I can tell you that much. Perhaps somewhere in the upper city, in Shan itself. I've heard of an individual that deals in raw dragon shard who would be interested in purchasing it from you.
Very
It
well.
might even take a few items off of your hands. I believe he still operates in the Cliffside Ward, if I'm not mistaken. It's a hobgoblin wizard.
But the name of?
Oh gosh, what was his name? Ah. You know, I'm not quite sure if he's even still in operation, but his name was Zinfel. He took over a shop for another practitioner after he left. It's actually located in an area known as Sean's Welcome, within Cliffside.
Very well. I've notated all that. Oh, you've been extremely helpful today.
Of course. Anything for another fellow member of the Order, of course.
Is there anything we can do to help you at this point?
Well, you all seem to be very resourceful individuals. But I don't require anything at this time. I'll tell you what, for all of this help in assisting you, I may call upon you sometime in the near future.
Very well. We'll be more than happy to help whenever we can. Thank you.
Well, the pleasure is all mine. You're very welcome.
Well, does anybody need anything else while we're here?
And Vespera, do you mind asking why are you staying down the cogs?
Oh dear, why would anyone want to come to the cogs willingly? I'm here because the Order deems it necessary for me to be here.
Oh, that makes sense. Well, we'll be out of your hair for now, but you'll continue to be our contact in the future or just in this area?
Oh, contact if you happen to pass through the cogs again. I'd be more than happy to help you out if you need to, but there are way stations all over Sean. If you need help, all you need to do is reach out.
Very well.
There's a few places beyond, of course, the Orient Tower. I believe there is a place within Cliffside that you can go to. It's an old tavern that was recently renovated and improved, and it floats above Sean's Welcome, over a place known as Troll Skull Alley. Don't know if you've ever heard of it before. It's a tavern that's known as the Troll Skull in Petu Arcanum.
Oh, I've heard of that. One of the heroes from that big event that happened stays there. It's my favorite. Oh, what's his name? Nicholas. Nicholas, yes. Is that him?
I don't know of any Nicholas, but the proprietor of the establishment is a woman called Lydia. She handles the day-to-day business, and on the second floor there are the offices and a place to stay for members of the Order who happen to pass through, if they're invited, of course. I believe it's run by a gentleman, a noble, known as Renair, if I'm not mistaken.
Very well. Maybe we'll get a chance to stop by there.
Well, my friends, if there's nothing else, if you have no further questions, I will bid you all goodbye.
Thank you, and hope we meet again soon. Have a great day.
As Rex turns around, you'll just see Alistair just pruning his feathers.
Well, guys, we got some stuff here to go through. So, Twinkle, come over here and get this dagger.
Okay.
Does anybody have a problem with me taking the longsword?
Vesper is now walking up the stairs, and she looks back at you all, and she gives you a little salute. And she just sort of yells down the stairs, "You can all see yourselves out, of course."
What does the salute look like?
It's sort of like a very strange gesture with 3 fingers, and she kisses her lips, and then she touches her forehead, and then moves her hand out in an arc in front of her.
Kind of like a Boy Scout salute.
Sort of.
Okay, we all do the Boy Scout salute back. Does anybody have any objection to me taking this longsword?
No, you can have the sword.
Do you need it?
I don't need it.
Okay. And what about this short bow here? Does anybody need a short bow for range damage?
So let Twinkle have it. She can have the smoke orb too.
Twinkle, would you like the short bow and the smoke orb? Look, when you shake it, the smoke moves around.
Yes.
Very well, go and grab both of those. As for the 2 pieces of armor, the +1 breastplate and the +1 chain shirt, does anybody have need of that?
I think
I
sell it
can't
unless-
wear armor.
But it is shiny. You might like that.
I personally have no use for the armor. It would actually hinder me more than help me.
Alright, we can
And-
sell it then.
Twinkle, this vest right here has 100 little tiny pockets in there where you could fit 100 little tiny crackers. Would you like that as well?
Yes.
Well, go ahead and put it on. I'm assuming it looks like a trench coat on her, right?
It looks like a sleeping shirt, actually.
Very good.
It seems to be made for a person of a much larger stature.
Who grabbed the griffin grease?
I grabbed the griffin grease.
Not me.
Cool.
This
Enjoy
time.
it.
I'm gonna cook with it.
Nice. Do you want that silver spoon also to cook with?
I think Alistair wants the spoon.
Alistair, do you want the spoon?
Oscar quickly like flutters over to it, picks it up, and just stuffs it in his pocket. Looks around.
Mine.
All that. Mine?
Are you sure it's not a W for Alistair?
Who do you think you are?
It's a W for who.
I am the who knocks.
I don't even know what that means.
I will say that since we didn't discuss it, I will say for all intents and purposes, she went ahead and identified all of your potions for you.
Oh, very good.
And I will identify them in your inventory for you, sir.
Okay, I'll quickly go over them with anybody and see if anybody needs anything. Potion of growth. Anybody need a potion of growth?
Twinkle?
Alistair looks down to his pants and back up to Drax.
I'm okay.
It has a large effect when you use it. It'll make you bigger. I don't know if that would do Twinkle any good, though, because Twinkle kind of benefits from being small and fast. Would you like it in case any giant monsters attack the city? You can stand up and fight them. Scorch.
I think it'll be better for you.
Okay, I'll keep that. How about this potion of poison, Twinkle?
I do like poison.
That is now in the party sheet. Go ahead and grab it. Potion of necrotic resistance. What do you think, Alistair? Sound like you?
I don't know. I feel like everyone would need necrotic resistance. I think we should just keep that separate so anyone can use it if they need it.
Very well. I'm resistant to everything, so I'll put it in there for everybody. Along with the potion of lightning resistance. And
I'll
do
take
wanna-
the lightning.
Go ahead. Oh yeah, that's right, because you fly, and lightning doesn't like flying.
You could say it's more effective.
I also have a potion of hill giant strength. Does anybody want that? I can make
I think
use
that'll be
of it,
better
but I
for
don't
you,
need it.
Brax.
Okay, I will keep it then. If I drink that potion of hill giant strength, along with that potion of growth, I honestly think I could attack the city. Or at least wrestle down a dragon. So what do we want to do now, guys? I'm leaning towards heading over to the cliffside area and trying to sell these gems. I mean, more money, more fun, right?
Yeah, let's do that.
I think we should find a way to sell this stuff and then probably set up a base of operations.
Very well. So we are looking for Zenfell. He's a hobgoblin wizard in the area of Cliffside. The specific area we're looking for is known as Sharn's Welcome. Zenfell may or may not be in business, but asking around about him might put us in contact with people that are in business if he's no longer there. And then we can move from there. Who knows? Maybe we'll meet some of his competition along the way and we can play the prices to our favor.
I don't understand this whole working the money nor basis of operations, but I have nothing better to do right now.
Trust me, buddy, it works out. It's like having a nest. You need one.
I prefer holes in a tree next to the common nests, but I guess we can't just hollow out someone's house, can we?
Well, I mean, all right. Well, let's just do that then. We'll call our base of operations the hole in the tree. You need a hole in the tree, and we're gonna go find one.
Alistair just kind of cocks his head back and forth.
Very well.
Scorched, I don't think he understands.
No, he's just a bright brain.
I will chew out Vrax's intestines and then rip you part apart and hide your body parts around, Scorched. I understand fully. I just don't understand your concept of why to do so.
Watch out, Scorched. Alistair's coming in for a landing. I heard him.
I think that was just a sky coach.
Oh, that's what that was. Okay, well, in that case, let's go ahead and...
All right. Does anyone know how to get to Cliffside?
Yeah, we call a sky carriage.
Actually, you're fairly certain the only way to get out of the lower city is to take... Well, I guess you could call a sky carriage.
Yeah, Alistair could just fly there if he wanted to.
That's true.
Hey, wait a second. We can all just fly there if we want to. Don't all... who's missing a flight ability?
Me.
You can ride with me.
Cool.
I didn't know Varax could fly.
Wait, how come you fly there?
I have a sword sled.
That's true. He does have a sword sled.
Can I carry 2 people on my sword sled?
How much can the sword sled carry?
Let's take a look and see.
I believe you can only fit 2 medium-sized creatures on a sword sled.
Yeah, that would fit me and Scorched up here.
Yeah. And then if Alistair wanted to carry Twinkle, I suppose he could.
All right, Twinkle.
Yeah.
Alistair's gonna give you, grab you and fly you up there. You ready to fly?
Yep.
All right, Scorch, jump up here. Be careful, man. I know how to do a couple tricks in this thing. Let's go.
I don't know. Is Scorch too heavy? Scorch weighs over about 400 pounds.
He said 2 medium creatures. You're fine. Jump up there.
How much can the sword sled carry within Sharn?
Well, according to the source sled, can't none of them carry him.
Well, that's regular. You have to get at what it can carry in Eberron, because outside of Eberron is different from Eberron.
Oh, we can carry up to 800 pounds. We're good. Yeah, we're in a manifest
Scorch
zone,
is nothing but a-
Scorch jumps up.
Yep, Scorch is nothing but a solid steel and oak, so he's pretty heavy.
Well, that's okay.
Alice?
Well, I can tell you that it would take you all about an hour and 45 minutes to get to Cliffside on your own flying through the air.
Yes. Yeah, we're doing that.
Alistair gently and caringly picks up Twinkle and kind of like holds her to his chest as he flaps his wings to take off.
Okay. So that's what you wish to do. You wish to travel up to the upper city by flying on
Yes.
your vehicles. Okay. You're faster than Alistair, so he'll trail behind you if he wants to follow you. I need you to make a survival check for me.
He
Since
can
you're
keep up with me because I'm doing tricks and stuff along the way.
okay. I need you to make a survival check. You can do so at advantage since you have Scorch flying with you.
I don't know. Scorch has never been to Basharn before.
All right, scorched kick flip. Ready? Jump.
So, after activating your source sled, the crystalline structure immediately erupting in from its small disc shape into its full size form. Green lightning trailing behind it as Scorch, you step onto the device with Vrax as he wheels it into the air. Alistair flying behind. It takes you about an hour, almost 2 hours to get to the cliffside area, and you're able to follow other traffic in the evening traffic as they flow through lava tubes up through the ceiling of the cavern. And you're all able to fly up into the night air through the valleys that separate the wards, now flying through Sharn proper. And after a while, you find yourselves coming up over the wall, the retaining wall above Sharn, and flying over down into the site of this dockside district. Rows of ships in the distance along the side of the hill, the river, and the harbor. And you can see the illuminated ever-bright lanterns of the various districts within the night air. You can see various individuals walking around, sort of almost a neon pinks and greens and reds of various signs of shops and brothels and taverns. And in the distance you can see, hanging above, floating, a large multi-storied structure that is currently floating above Sharn's Welcome, which signifies the center of this area known as Troll Skull Alley. And you settle down into Troll Skull Alley proper.
Scorch is gonna get off of the solar sled.
Okay. So it's just shy of 10 p.m. you arrive within the cliffside ward within Sharn's Welcome.
Alistair will gently land and then set Twinkles nicely onto the ground.
Cobblestone streets of Sharn's Welcome and Trollskull Alley. As you step into Trollskull Alley, you see below the floating tavern, you can see a park which has been raised and erected below it. In the shadow of the moonlight, in the shadow of the tavern and the other buildings in the area, you see a bit of shrubbery here and there. A tree that was planted there. It looks like it was planted recently. A few park benches. And then ahead of you, you see other shops within the area. And just ahead, straight ahead of you, to the south of the entrance, the mouth of Trollskull Alley, you can see a shop with a charming sign of a gold dragon that's curled around what looks like a treasure hoard of books and scrolls. And you can see that the shop is still illuminated. Some of the other shops within this area, as you all arrive and you begin walking through the district, you can see that the shops, the lights are starting to go out. You can see individuals coming out, and they're pulling back the awnings on the shops. You seem to have arrived just about closing time for many of the businesses within this alleyway. And as you approach the outside of the shop proper, a hobgoblin man opens up the door, and he's got a long, about a meter long bit of wood, a dowel, and he's currently reaching up to catch the edge of the awning and pull it down.
Looks like he's closing up. Maybe we can catch him tomorrow.
He turns and he looks in your direction and notices the four of you standing in the street looking in his direction, and he waves. "Do you need something?"
Yeah, so we're looking to sell these dragon shards.
Don't say that out loud. These things are worth a lot of money. We're looking for Zenfell.
That's me. I'm
we
Zedfell.
we got a few items here we think you might be interested in, or maybe you could give us some information about them, or who would be interested in them.
Well, I was just about to go on and down to the tavern and have a drink, but I can stay open for a little while longer, always for customers, hopefully repeat customers. Come on in. And he,
Okay, sure.
you watch as he lowers the awning to cover the window on either side, and then he opens the door up again, steps into the door frame, steps away, allowing you all to enter into his shop.
We really appreciate you staying open for us here. If you, after we're done here, we'll go down to the tavern with you. I'll buy you a drink.
Oh, that'll be lovely. I was just about to head down to Lydia's place.
I heard it's a nice place. That's where those heroes from a while back were from.
Well, come in. We can talk inside the shop. You're letting in the air. It's hot. Even for this time of night, it's hot out. And there's as you all begin to file into the shop, you get that familiar bit of cooling wind that it seems to be emanating that you felt when you were down in the cogs within Vesper's place.
Scorch takes a look around the shop. Is there anything interesting?
You see just the place is decorated with like beautiful dark wood, and there you have the smell this that permeates the entire shop of old books, and there's just a library, rows and rows of books on the shelves. And Zinfel begins to walk towards the counter and walks behind it, and he rests his hands on top of the counter and he says, "Well, what have you got for me?"
Not to interrupt Jeremy, but just as a side note real fast, my oldest son just walked into the room. He went to bed before we finished last night. He walked in here, looked at us, and said, "Have y'all been playing D&D all night?"
Yes, we have. Don't break the immersion.
Exactly. I'm gonna take out the
Version broke. TPKO.
I'm gonna take out the 8 dragon shards, lay them on the table, and not say a word. I'm just gonna wait to see his response.
As you lay the bits of crystal on the table, the Sybaris is a bit larger than the Eberron, and he very quickly, with a trembling hand, reaches under the counter and he pulls out a little device that looks a bit like a jeweler's eye, and he pulls the Sybaris crystal and he pulls it over and he goes, "Oh yes, very nice, very nice. Eberron and Sybaris shards. Oh my, wherever did you happen to find that? I hope you didn't kill anyone for it."
It was a bad person doing bad things, and we relieved him of these.
Indeed. Well, I could take these off your hands.
Could you? What do they work?
Let's see. Cerberus dragon shards are more expensive, of course. The rarer ones, they can fetch you a decent price. I could give you 150 gold per crystal. The Eberron is a little more common. I can give you 50 gold per Eberron crystal.
And is that the normal going rate for these?
Of course, this is a normal going rate for these crystals, obviously. I run a place of business, and I will have to either use or sell them myself, so I'm not going to give you the full cost of an item of this sort, but you have quite a few of them.
I would
The
like to look
Sybaris,
around real quick and see what they sell for in his shop. Scorch, go ahead and keep talking to him while looking around.
Well, the Sybaris dragon shards are pretty rare here.
Yes,
About
they're
180.
very rare, but Ken, I don't know you. I've never done business with you, and I do run a place of business. Of course,
Yell across
on-
the room. I said,
on-
you could know us.
on repeat customers, I would be more than happy to work a deal out, or if you had something in trade, I could possibly, if you had something that I was looking for, perhaps we could work something out. But for now, that I think that 150 gold per Sybaris and 50 per Eberron is more than adequate.
Well, then we'll hang on to the Sybaris shards for now, and we'll sell you the Eberron.
Oh, very well. That'd be more than welcome. If you want to take the Sybaris shards and put them in your inventory, Scorched. Also, are you all interested in selling the armor or the potion of necrotic resistance?
Would he be interested in stuff like that?
He looks at you. Are you offering it?
Well, let's ask him if he knows anybody that would be interested in buying the armor and the potion of necrotic resistance.
At this time of evening, no. I could take the potion off of you if you like. Not many places open this late, of course, you should know. Within the city is sort of winds down at this time of night. There's still folk milling about, but most shops are closed at this time of night. Folks are closing up and going home, having late dinners, a drink, that sort of thing.
Yeah, we can sell the potion of necrotic resistance if nobody's opposed to it. What you offering for it?
And he looks at it and he goes, I'll tell you what. I'll give you 200 gold for that.
That sounds good to me.
Now, did you have anything else? You inquired about getting rid of this armor. There's a couple of places here around Cliffside that you could get rid of it. And of course, there are places scattered all over the city. In the upper levels of Dura, there are places that will purchase those items from you.
Alright, so we'll just sell the dragon shard in the potion.
Okay. So if you guys want to take the breastplate armor, whoever wishes to take that, and the chain shirt out. And I will sell these items for you. Pleasure doing business with you. If there's nothing else that you wish.
It was our pleasure. So tell me, what are these dragon shards used for exactly?
All right, artificers and other arcanists such as myself use them experiments. They used refined dragon shard can be used to power arcane devices and be used to enhance spells. And the creation of various devices and implements that artificers use and sorcerers and wizards use in their experiments.
So it's basically just raw magical energy.
It's power, my friend. Raw power. Power from the heavens.
It's amazing stuff.
Indeed. It's dangerous in the wrong hands.
Well, it's a good thing they got out of my hands then, because mine are definitely the wrong ones.
Indeed. Indeed, my friend. Well, if there's nothing else, if you don't wish to procure anything from me, I am going to close up for the evening.
Yeah, we'll head over to the tavern real quick, and I'll let the bartender know that you got a drink on me.
Well, perhaps I will see you there.
Perhaps so. We have a tendency to find trouble, though, so who knows?
Okay.
And on that note, we're headed out the door.
All right. As you head out of the door, there. Who wants to make a perception check for me?
Alistair does.
Yes, Alistair's always watching.
Actually, I'll tell you what. Let's see who has the highest passive. That would be Alistair. Has a 17. You totally noticed this. Alistair, there is a sound of wings flapping. And as you all step out into Troll Skull Alley proper, a gargoyle swoops down from above and lands in front of you all. And as it does so, it slows down as it gets closer to you. And as it approaches you, you can see that the gargoyle appears to be has an emblem on its chest, which is fixed to the stony emblem, and it appears to be that of the signet of the House of Vidalis.
Hey, little fella, are you lost?
And the gargoyle looks at each of you, and it says, "Hello. Might I ask your names?"
My name is Scorched. This is Alistair, Brax, and Twinkle.
Do you hail?
And your name is?
My name is Pebble. Do you hail from the Order of Orion?
No, I hail from the base of some mountains outside the city. Oh, you mean, do I work with?
The gargoyle just sort of patiently sits there and regards each of you, waiting for you to all respond.
Why should we tell
Yes,
you?
we work for the Impactu Arcanum.
The lady has need of you, it says. And there's this voice that sounds like stones being scraped together, and it reaches into a pouch that's slung over its shoulder, and it drops a sealed envelope into one of your outstretched hands, whoever takes it.
I'll take it.
Okay. I will drop it into your inventory, Scorched. The pentagonal parchment, which is folded up, and it has a stylized symbol of House Kenneth on it.
Alistair kind of like looks around at Pebbles, just debating if she should roost on it or not.
And the moment that it drops it into your hand, the gargoyle thrusts its wings and leaps into the air and flies off into the distance, into the night air.
Alistair croons his head. That looked like a comfortable seat.
Alright. So perhaps you should get some, go somewhere so we can read this.
You said you wanted to go to this tavern, or we agreed on anyways. Maybe we should go there then.
Very well, let's go.
Okay. So you begin heading towards the park, and near the park you can see that there is some sort of platform, and you can see that as you began to get closer to it, you saw that it was lowering itself down from some sort of platform raised above and hanging off the edge of this floating tavern. And as it transfers to the ground, you see a couple of individuals. One of them just a half-orc man and an elven man. The elven man just sort of laughs, chuckles, and puts an arm around the other gentleman, and they begin teetering off, swaying in the distance out of the mouth of Trollskull Alley. And as you approach the platform, one by one, you all step onto the platform, and you hear a pneumatic hiss as, almost sensing your presence, this platform begins to rise up into the air at a fairly quick pace, but not too quickly. And it raises up to the edge of this seating area, this exterior area of the tavern. You're now standing on the platform on the edge of this courtyard in front of the tavern proper. You can see that there are individuals within. It's warm lit within. There are ever bright lanterns all around the exterior facade of the building. Building itself several levels high. And one by one, you all transfer into the building. And as you enter in, it's fairly raucous atmosphere. There are several individuals of many different types that are all seated. There's a musician in the corner who's playing, apparently preparing for the crowd within. And as you enter into the place, you can see that there is an older woman, appears to be of human. And when she sees the four of you enter into the establishment, her eyes kind of go wide a little bit, and she walks to the end of the table and whispers to a man who is wearing plate armor. And then she walks back towards, as they look at each other, and then their gaze looks back towards you. She walks back to the center of the counter and manages to give forth a bit of a smile and says, "Hello, loves. Welcome to the tavern. Welcome to the tap room. Can I get you anything?"
Actually, before we get started, we're just here for the night on business. The wizard Zinfel, you know him, yes?
Yes, I know Zinfel. Good fellow.
Yes. He did some good business with us earlier today, and I wanted to make sure that his first 3 drinks tonight are on me. How much will that be?
Oh, that's just very, very generous of you, good sir. Well, see, Zinfel usually drinks very, very simple man. He drinks ale by the mug. 3 drinks, that'll run you about 12 copper.
Let's go ahead and make it 1 gold, and we keep the rest as a tip.
And she was mustering a smile. It seemed a bit forced, and she now relaxes, and her eyes are no longer like bugging out of her head. And she says, "That's very generous of you indeed." Well,
And don't worry, I understand. It's the red frill. It throws everybody off. But I promise you, we are housebroken.
it's no trouble. Again, we cater to everyone, but the one over there, and she begins gesturing towards Scorched. Keep an eye on that one for me, will you?
Oh, of course. I can assure you, though, he is 100% tame.
Very well. Feel free to grab
Also,
grab a table if you like.
look over there. Do you see the little diminutive one hiding behind Alistair, the trash gnome? If you see her touch anything she's not supposed to, don't freak out. Just call me, and we'll put it right back, and I'll pay for any damages if you have to beat her up a little bit.
As long as you don't tick off Vernon over there, and she points to the human male who has a scar that runs across his forehead all the way down across the bridge of his nose and across his cheek. And Vernon, it has sort of like a reddish beard and reddish hair, and he's sort of leaning on the edge of the bar now, no drink in hand, with his one hand resting on his longsword. Vernon's here for protection, obviously, so as long as you all mind your manners, we won't have any problems.
Wow, he looks mean. And go ahead and get him a drink too when he gets off work on me.
Very kind of you, sir.
I hold my hands up like apologetically and said, you won't have any problems out of us. I promise. If problems come here, I will help you throw them out.
Very well. We are well protected, but any help for any situation is more than helpful.
I know we're a bit off-putting. Is there somewhere out of the way we could sit?
She gestures towards one corner near the fireplace. There's a round table which is empty. Feel free to sit anywhere you like, but for a group such as yourselves, there's a table over there that you could use.
Okay.
And she sort of recoils from your very odd, uproarious laughter from her comment.
I did that at the wrong time, didn't I? Sorry. Okay. Still haven't figured you people out.
And she says, any of you want anything to drink? I'll send it over your way.
Drinks all around and meat.
We could do that.
Yes. Meat be great.
So you can see she leans back and she yells off into the back area behind the bar that leads off into a side room out of sight. She says, Terry, we have a couple of folk out here who want some meat.
Oh, and I'm gonna lean over towards the bar, towards the bartender. I'm assuming that's
Lydia, yes.
I'm gonna lean over towards Lydia and I'm gonna say, oh, and not to be rude, but have you had any problems with rats lately? If you have, I'm gonna point over at Twinkle. I'm not gonna say her name. I'm just gonna point at her and go, eats them. So if you do.
No rats. We have our very own pest control built into the place. Don't worry about that.
It's not a cat, is it?
It's a few cats, actually.
Twinkle, if you see anything with fur and a long tail, do not touch it. All right, thanks. Thank you. Now I'm going to go into my...
And as you all head over to the table and settle in around the table, Scorched with his parchment, this delivered letter that you can see has the stylized signet of House Cannith on it.
The Scorched, what is that?
So you'll allow me to open it and read it to you. To my new friends.
You cut out there, sir.
Please meet me at my townhouse at the sound of the second evening chime. Come to the Parlin Tower in Middle Central Townhouse, 19, Lady E.
You missed out on the part that says an opportunity to earn gold and perform service for House Cannith presents itself.
The most important part.
Yep, my finger was off the talk button for a second.
That's okay.
Say anything about meat.
I'll tell you what. I will share the text in the chat for you guys.
House Cannith. That's those big up to do's that did all that stuff with the dragon shards, right? Anybody?
How would I know? I'm surprised you even know anything. You came off as a pretty stale lizard to me.
Just because I don't know the rest of the ways that all you flesh-covered things act, no offense to you, I know you're feather-covered, but it's still soft, it doesn't mean that I'm uncivilized. We have our own civilization, we have towns, we have lizards, we have, well, I guess you call them people. Um, we we are a very civilized society. We just don't worry over the small details as much as the rest of you.
Yes, that's why I'm surprised you even know that. I'm from the woods myself, not too far, but I still know nothing of the city. I
I
just
can
kind of take it as it goes.
I can read and write in 3 different languages. I didn't learn that digging around in the mud, you know. Can you read? Can you even read?
No.
Yes.
Twinkle, you barely know common.
I know 4 languages.
How did you learn that? Studying trees?
When I trained with the druids and the monks, which were all also reclused from most of the modern world.
Did they think you were extra also?
They did not judge me by what I look like, but they judged me at who I was trying to be.
Well, I'd judge you against all of it.
I judge myself on trying to be better than I have.
Alright, I'm done messing with you now. So, what do we want to do about this letter?
Do
Well,
we have anything else to do, and do we even have a reason to need more gold?
Well, yeah, more gold equals more fun. I thought that was the party motto.
But we haven't really used any. What fun are we planning?
Well, what kind of fun do you want to have? You need some, like, owl girls or something?
I want to punish those who hurt nature.
So, you need gold. For more weapons.
I guess you do have a point there. Though not necessary, I guess it could make it more entertaining for those that deserve it more than others.
Maybe one day you could open up a little park here in the city and show people what it's like to really be in nature. You know, convince them to get out a little.
You know, I like your point. I do often forget that not everyone should be judged harshly for their misdeeds.
Yes, they should. But a park would still be nice. Scorched, what about you, buddy? Why are you here with us? And do you even eat or drink? What do you do?
I do not know why I'm here. After the war, I just sort of was taken to wandering, and one day I came across the city of Sharn, here I am. And I don't need to eat, but I was created to cook for the armies.
So you're a cook?
I am a cook.
Wow, that. Hold on, Twinkle. Did you hear that?
Yes.
He knows how to cook.
That's why he took the grease.
Okay, you need to talk with Twinkle later. She is on an adventure to eat one of everything in the entire world. You could help her knock a lot of items off that list. Twinkle, why are you here?
I like eats, and all eats do not come to me, so I am going to all eats.
Fair enough. So, yeah, we all have reasons to get gold. So, do we want to go actually investigate this tomorrow?
Yeah, we might as well. I may find some people that are not up to smug, if you may.
And by tomorrow, you mean the second chime of the evening bell?
The second evening chime, would that be tonight or is that tomorrow?
That would be tonight.
Damn it. Is there food and drink here yet?
Yes, while you were talking, a squat little halfling man, balding on top, came around and he laid your tray very gingerly, giving you all a bit of a side eye. And he said,
There you go. If you need anything else, please don't hesitate to call.
I didn't know they served halfling here.
"Ah!" And he recoils from your comment, and he immediately starts running away from the table. On the tray, you see heaping, steaming piles of roasted meat, and there are also flagons for each one of you now, filled with ale.
Imagine 3 of us are drinking with one hand and eating the meat straight off the plate with our hands with the other. And,
Alistair is just basically gulping whole pieces of meat down without chewing.
Are you not using your little silver spoon?
I don't like metals, but I like shiny. I'm very conflicted about what I should do. I need it, but I hate it.
Are you going to put it in that hole in the tree? Make you a little hole in the tree nest?
No, but I may. I don't know.
And he just
You could hide it
Chugs
all
it
away so that you could look at it, be shiny, but then no one else can touch it and play with it.
Like a dragon.
I am a dragon bird. No, as a druid, I do not like metals. But it's just so shiny. I cannot help myself.
Well, metals are naturally occurring in nature. Why don't you take it and smash it back into its natural shape?
Then it would not be shiny. It would be damaged and chipped.
Or what if you put it in the bottom of a slow-moving stream and let the water polish it over time?
Yes, that's a great idea. Polish nice and naturally. I may do that.
There you go, buddy. Problem solved. Well, let's finish gulping this down and get out of here. We got work.
And again, if anyone looks over at the table, if he's in the shadow, his eyes are going to be red. And anyone that looks too closely will just kind of get the feeling it's like, that bird has seen some serious shit.
But by serious shit, he just means that he saw somebody throw their trash out in the back alley and did not put it in the proper receptacle. And it haunts him to this.
That and other very, very serious shit on top of that.
And not cooking it properly.
You
Well,
can
we
just
done
tell that he's seen a lot of unhappy shit.
Are we done?
I'm done eating. We can get going.
Good. I'm gonna grab everything else on the plate and swallow it whole like a snake. And then we're getting out. Bones and all. I'll probably regurgitate those later for some.
Okay, so after settling up for the meal, I would say that to feed all 4 of you, a couple of gold will settle up nicely.
I got it.
Okay, and you all wish to leave the facility now?
Yes, we are on the way to the address on the paper.
Side quest, can I see a cat?
Does she see a cat?
Make a perception check. Okay. Twinkle, as you head outside of the establishment, out into the night air, you hear in the distance. You can just hear a. But it's very far away, and you're not sure which direction the sound is coming from.
I'm gonna jump on top of Brax's head and look around.
Okay.
Click.
Twinkle, what are you doing? Get down, Twinkle.
Yeah, you don't really see much, and as you head out into the night air, you can hear the sounds of the city in the evening in the distance. Don't see any other cats. In fact, the courtyard is immaculate. Like this looks like it's very well kept.
I feel like Twinkle should be rolling constant perception to see if she sees birds, rats, small animals running around. Maybe the unfortunate child.
And as you're within the courtyard, you're looking out. You see now the familiar sight as the elevator is raising up, and you see Zinfel now as he emerges in the midst of a few other individuals on the platform elevator. He steps off into the courtyard and he goes,
Oh, well, my friends. Seems we are passing ships in the night. Off for
Yeah,
more.
we left you a gift over there at the tavern. Tell Lydia we said.
Well, that's very kind of you. Perhaps we'll do business again sometime.
I hope so. I actually jotted your name down earlier so we could do business again in the future.
and he sort of reaches up and he strokes his long, sort of a bit of gray through his black beard and his hobgoblin features. And he just sort of curls a bit of a grin, and he pulls out a long-stemmed wooden pipe now, and he starts packing it full of some sort of substance and lights it. Takes a puff off of it.
What is that?
Alistair stares at him.
Oh, well, yes,
And he pulls it out of his mouth now.
just a bit of tobacco. That's simple.
Is it good?
And he sort of looks at it, and he looks to you and says, "Do you want to try it?"
Yeah, let me hit that.
And he hands you the tobacco in the pipe, which is still burning, and he points his index finger at the end of the top of the front of the pipe as you draw it, and you roll a Constitution saving throw for me. Your lungs are immediately full of this burning smoke, and you immediately start hacking. And as you do, you blow into the end unexpectedly of the pipe, and you send burning embers of tobacco showering all over his face. He says, "Oh, jeez, oh," and he's patting his clothing, checking to make sure he's not erupted in flame. He says, "I take this the first time you've ever smoked from a pipe."
Thumping my chest. Yes, it is. It's good stuff.
You don't have to sugarcoat it for me, my friend. I understand if it is not your thing.
Alistair just laughs in a shrieking noise.
I'm gonna have to try that again sometime when I can buy my own. Do you sell them at your store?
Tobacco. You can pick that up anywhere. Just about. Well, there's a few places around that have it.
And he sort of like turns his head to the side for a moment and strokes his beard, and he pulls out a little pouch, sort of a waxy paper, and it's all folded and compressed down, and he says,
I'll tell you what. Why don't you try this? You take it on. And you'll have to find yourself your own means of enjoying it. I don't have an extra pipe for you.
Well, let me get a good look at that pipe real quick. I might be able to make one of these.
And he hands the pipe over to you again, and it's long. The stem on it is approximately 8 inches long, and it seems to be made out of a very light wood, which has been finely sanded.
This doesn't look too complex. This could be made out of bone, yes?
I imagine you could festoon one out of bone. That'd be no problem if you're skilled with that sort of artisanship.
Yes, yes. I often make tools and weapons out of the corpses of my enemies. I can do this.
My friend, you make me laugh. It's very amusing. Well, if you don't mind, I'm going to go have a drink now. Standing out here in the heat is not good for an old timer such as myself. And all of you within the, even at nearly 10:30 at night, are now feeling the heat. For those of you who sweat, you're dripping in sweat right now, standing in the courtyard. He wearing his long robes now. Zinfel is now bows to each of you after handing the
pipe back.
he takes the pipe back graciously, and he hands you that package of that little waxy package, and he says,
Now you be careful with that. If you're not experienced with pipe weed, it can over time it can be very, very hazardous to your health.
As we're walking away, I'm gonna yell over to him, and I'm like, "We're buddies now, right?"
Of course.
and
Well,
he,
good. 200 on those dragon shards next time I see you.
I'll think about it.
and he disappears through the opening of the door, and the door closes behind him as he heads into the establishment.
All right,
And-
let's keep going.
And as you are heading towards the platform now, you all hear a resounding chiming noise that echoes from somewhere from beyond the interior of the city. And you're all recognizing that this is in fact the second chiming bell. The evening chiming bell which was mentioned in the letter. You are now running late.
Well, all right, let's run.
Yeah, we are all now running.
So how would you like to traverse to that part of the city?
We're running.
You're running. Okay.
How far away is it?
Well, let's see. Scorched will tell you where it's located. He still has the letter on him.
And it's in the middle of Central Town. The Parlin Tower, wherever that is.
Yeah, but how far away is that?
I don't know, is there a map on the back of the letter?
There's no map. But I can tell you how long it'll take you to get there.
How long?
Oh, let's see. You're in Cliffside now. So, by Skycoach, it would take you... It would take you just over half an hour to get there via Skycoach, and much longer by foot. It would take you several hours.
All right, let's get a sky coach real quick and head on over there.
Okay. As you are you still in the courtyard, or have you descended down to the street?
Yeah, we're in the courtyard.
Okay. As you're standing on the edge of the courtyard, you can see a couple of sky coaches off in the distance, which are lazily zipping around, rising up from the streets in the distance, and then moving up and out and over towards to the east, towards the city proper, rising up above the retaining wall. And you see another one that now comes into view that is in the moonlight, is giving off the glint of like mithril in places, like a mithril filigree. And it is pulled by 4 Pegasi. And
that one looks expensive. Let's get that one.
And you hear a sound of a voice yelling out,
Whoa, sassafras!
Yes, it's Mr. R! How?
You don't know who he is.
That's why that was out of character, not in character.
Okay. So do you wish to flag down this one?
Yeah.
Okay, how would you like to attempt to do that?
We're going to yell, "Hey, Shawnee! Down here."
Okay. As you yell out, this large silver filigreed mithril carriage flies by with this team of horses, these flying Pegasi, and you see a sort of a shiny golden bronze warforged who is seated on the front of this vehicle, and he calls down to you, "Step back! I'll be right down!" And the vehicle swoops down and now comes to rest within the courtyard in front of the tavern, and you hear the clip-clopping of the horses as it slows down, and then the whinnying of the Pegasi as they flap their wings and then fold them close on the sides. And this warforged, who is wearing a top hat and a monocle, sort of leans over and he says, "Well, hello, my friends. What can I do for you on this evening?"
Hello.
"Oh, brother, I didn't see you there. Hello there. So nice to see you."
"Hey, we need to get this address right here in a hurry. And your sky coach really stood out amongst the rest. So you think you can help us?"
"Absolutely I can." And as he's gesturing with his hands, you can see that on his left hand he is wearing a ring with an amber dragon shard embedded in it. And as he looks at you, looks at all of you, he happens to notice that you're all also wearing rings. He says, "You wouldn't happen to be from the Order, would you?"
Yeah, we're newly instated.
"Oh, well, step right in, no charge. I always give free rides to members of the Order. It's been a while since I've had a rough and tumble group such as yourselves in my carriage."
Nice. All right, I'm jumping in.
Okay. As you approach, he's already opened the door by knocking and tapping his staff on the side of the carriage. And the stairway, it descends from the inside. It sort of folds out like a tongue. And each step, one after another, descends and creates an area that you can step up very easily into.
Can I sit up front with you?
Well, of course. By all
Cool,
means,
jump on my
come
shoulder.
on in.
Okay.
Scorch will climb into the sky coach.
Alistair also climbs into the sky carriage.
I'm sitting up front with Twinkle riding on my shoulder.
Well, if you're all ready to go, we can be on our way. And he
Let's do it.
snaps the reins. He says, "Ginger, sassafras, lady, and Siegfried." And he snaps them once again, and the Pegasi, the four of them, all stretch out their wings and beat them several times, and they all leap into the air. The carriage erupts into the air.
I'm glad you said Siegfried because I was about to interrupt you and say that one's name was Tyrone.
Tyrone. So it's Ginger, Sassafras, Lady, and Siegfried.
Good names.
I love them.
The ride is nice and smooth. The beating of the weeds, sort of a gentle bobbing as the sky carriage lifts up into the air away from the elevated and floating tavern, and says, "Oh, let's see, what was that address again? Parlin
That was
Tower,
gonna be
Middle
Harlan
Central."
Tower, Middle Central, Townhouse 19.
Well, that's very close to the Dragon Marked House district, the Dragon district, if I'm not mistaken. I can get you there quickly. How quickly did you need to get there?
As fast as possible.
Oh, well, in that case, and you watch as he now flips the top of his cane up, and a illuminated crystal rises, sort of corkscrews up out from the interior of the cane. And he holds his cane out and forward, and as he does, this arcane spiraling energy shoots out in front of them, and there is suddenly a gateway that appears out of nowhere, a shimmery gateway that appears in front of you all. And as you pass through the gateway, there is a bit of a herky-jerky motion, and your stomachs all sort of lurch, except for our Warforged friend Scorch, because he don't have a stomach. And suddenly there is a white, bright flash of light as you pass through, and you are all suddenly transported to the top overhead, just under the skyway, just above Middle Central. This is, whoa! I haven't done that in such a long time. Girls, I hope you're okay up there. He looks back to you and he says, it's not often that I do that. I only do that for my hopeful friends. And he sort of, kind of his ocular device, which he's wearing the monocle. You can see beyond the monocle, you can see his photoreceptor where his eye would be. Sort of winks a little bit. Kind of clasps and closes. You can see cogs and tiny little cogs and spirals within coils of metal that clasp together as if he's attempting to make a wink.
Wow. Things in this city never cease to amaze me.
Let's see, Middle Central, right this way. And he snaps the reins again, and the Pegasi beat their wings very quickly, and he swoops down towards the side, the western side of the district, through the towers, and eventually you find yourselves in a much nicer area than Cliffside. The streets are no longer cobblestone, they're very smooth, planed marble. You can see very large villas and houses that accompany that are sort of nestled within the towers that stretch up towards the upper part of Central Plateau and the lower parts of Central Plateau. And eventually he comes in, he comes down into the streets proper and lands the sky carriage in the midst of the street. There's not much movement at this time of night within this area, and the few bit of movement that you do see appears to be possible members of the watch. You can see off in the distance a couple of members of the watch that are just holding out ever-bright lanterns and walking around the edges of the retaining walls around these different houses. Right up there, that is Townhouse 19, and he gestures off in the distance. You can see about 50 yards away, you see a 8-foot-tall wall, and you can see a gate, and the front gate is open. That's strange. Those doors are usually closed.
I'm afraid they're expecting us.
Well, if there's nothing else, unless you require me to stay behind, I can give you a ride somewhere else. I'll be more than happy to hang back here.
Yeah, if you don't mind, I'll toss him a gold coin real quick and say, I don't think we're going to be doing anything specifically here other than just meeting somebody.
Well, that's perfectly okay.
Do I owe you anything else for the lift?
No, not at all, my friend. As I said, any member of the order, no problem at all. I don't charge for my friends, especially new friends.
Agreed. Friends. We'll see you in a little bit. We're going to be in and out as fast as possible.
And that is where we're going to end for today.